hop, a hippie to the.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Deaf Fresh Show. I am your host, Young Fresh. I'm in the building with a few of my nearest and dearest. You know, I got my nigga Ken Beats, aka Tommy, Mr. Essential.
What's happening? What's happening?
And you know, my alcoholic friend Toriano Carson.
What
in the
up,
building.
though?
He survived Cinco de Mayo.
That's right.
Real? I mean,
This nigga he was there at 11. I got
Yo.
there at 2.
I was
still going.
I was at work.
I drank with them till 7.
So I was
They
at,
were still there.
and it was funny because I wrote in the group chat, I was like, so we being racist tonight? And Tori was like, yo, I'm here already. I looked at my watch, I'm like, nigga, I just got to work.
This mic.
I was like, I just got to work. I'm like, yeah, these niggas gonna be drunk and sleep by the time I get off.
Nope.
Then when I got off, I saw
them niggas
videos
was
of
still
niggas
going.
still partying.
They were still partying. It never stopped.
That's how y'all get down on Cinco de
Can't
Mayo?
stop,
That's
won't
right.
stop. And the people just kept coming, sitting in with us, eating tacos, buying us necessary shots,
Where were y'all
leaving.
Yep. Shout out to Cree and them. They slid through.
Yep.
Cree and Kim.
It was like a revolving door of friends.
Where were y'all at?
Burrito Bueno.
Burrito Bueno.
Oh, right.
The only
Yeah.
Mexican-
Yeah, that
the
day.
The realest Mexican. Is it on the north side too?
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
on
I'm saying, yeah.
Appleton.
Appleton.
Like,
You came up there
He
Man,
don't, you
on
don't,
my birthday.
I was
he-
just there.
he-
I was there for you. I didn't know where we was at.
You gotta
I
remember-
asked no question.
Hey,
you got to remember he don't drive.
I used to live behind Burrito Bueno. And
Did you?
Yeah. On Beckett.
It's just
and
funny
Walker
because
Coon.
it's like that's the hoodest Mexican spot on the north side.
Man, it's
It is.
actually the most
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah, when you get your food,
You
it's
get your
phenomenal.
food, it's actually really good. And you will be
Yeah.
faded.
And chicken is great. Try the mango wings.
Oh, I haven't had those.
Are you? Nah, you're not allergic to
Nigga
No.
Tone went on a tour of their wings and shit.
How many wings did you have?
I did not-
He had to eat like 50.
No, I did not.
Were
I
they
had,
different flavors or you had one flavor of 50 wings?
I
'Cause
had two
one
different
flavor
flavors.
of 50 wings is
I
crazy.
did not have 50 wings. I had maybe 18 because they come in sixes.
How many of the? Oh, so you had multiple sixes.
Yeah,
Mm,
You couldn't
Cree.
just get a 24 piece.
I didn't think about it like that. I wasn't that hungry at first. Like
you
you
had
know,
them.
You wasn't that hungry, but you ate.
But you
8.
knew you was gonna be
18 wings.
drinking, which you need. To
which is
soak
what.
up.
Okay, so that's why I bought the first set of wings because you know, hungry, get some food, grab some wings, get to drinking, realize the tequila hit me kind of quick. So, ooh, this chicken's not gonna be enough. Let me try these mangoes that look good. That look fire. Because Twan had wings and they were just sitting there, which was pissing me off. Because the wind was
You
blowing the hot sauce at my
You was
nose.
mad. You wouldn't eat his food.
He was mad because he was like, bro, you wasting food here. So I ordered me some hot wings and I tried the mango. The mango was fire. Hey, let me get another order of the mangoes. Give me some tacos while you at it. These
It was all kind of cultural appropriation on Cinco de Mayo.
nigga, when don't we culture appropriate those holidays?
I mean, you Antonio, and does it count because you Toriano?
I guess I don't know.
And then I'm Juan, so like, yeah, I'd have been good.
See?
Your Mark.
I'm a Raul.
Your mark.
I'm a Raul.
Why would you call me that? Like,
Because that's your name.
that is not my damn name.
You said your mark. that's so white.
You're right.
Mark is about as it's up there with Chad.
But before I forget my thought that I was saying before air, you cannot go back and judge things from today's eyes in the past. It's like again, my point. Well, I just wanted before I forget my point. My point was literally you cannot go back and look at a hip, a hop, a hippie to the hip hop, and it don't stop, and then say
Rock it to the bang bang. Boogie
there was
boogie,
no
boogie.
essence or nothing to that fucking lyric because because to us that lived through that era, that shit was groundbreaking. That shit moved crowds. That shit
Because
hit
nobody
back dance
nobody
floors.
was doing anything before that. That was the first that you heard of it. So if somebody came out with the first that you heard of it, and then 30 years later somebody comes out with something simple as something that came out 30 years ago, is that a fair comparison? You actually 30 years late on some shit that already didn't been said.
Right.
So yeah, then it was simple, but it was outstanding.
So here's my beef with you old niggas. And I say you old niggas very respectfully.
Yeah, because you're going to be one.
Yeah. Bro, not going to be. I'm already there. Like the young niggas that I ain't been here with old school yet, but I know I'm getting old.
Oh,
I ain't
old
been-
school or unk.
I ain't got hit with those yet, but I know I'm getting old. But my gripe was like, so you old niggas, respectfully, look at the young niggas of the generation of music that either I listen to or that is coming behind us and will be like, oh, this shit is trash. these niggas can't rap. And I'm like, well, I don't think that's fair when we came from a hip, a hop, a hippie to the hip hop, you don't stop. And niggas lost their fucking mind.
I'm gonna stop you right there because the fact that it came from where it came from, the idea behind being an artist back then was to top the person before you. So you improved on it every time you rhyme. You didn't copy. You came up with your own shit that, like he said that, I'm gonna say my shit a little bit better. That's not what's going on right now.
Back then,
that is not going on right now.
Back then, there was a universal rule that no biting was allowed. So everybody had to be original.
Yes. Okay, but I'm not saying that anyone is biting. My point is like you saying that niggas can't rap and it's simple. That's what a lot of people. It's mumble rap. It's simplistic. There's no to it. They go ain't no umph to it. And I'm like, but you can't say that about these young niggas when we came from a time where looking back at it, it's just like it was hot. I'm not saying it was trash. It wasn't no umph to it. But it was very simple.
Okay. My point to this is
it was still all simplistic, is what I'm saying. That's not to say it's bad or it's trash. It's just it's very boom. It's very easy to get. It catches on.
Okay.
It's very easy. It's party rap.
Okay. Look at comparison. Look at the first Nintendo that came out, 8-bit game with a A and B button and directional pad that went 4 different ways. A video game that you could only go forwards and backwards, one dimensional.
This is very true.
Now, if somebody came out today and made a game, not even the system, but just a game where you could only go 2 different ways, like Mario.
My favorite game does that.
People will look back and say there's nothing to this game, which is not true. Which would be true in today's era. There's nothing to the game. It just goes backwards and forwards.
But
you cannot go back and then say it's just like Mario and that shit was trash too. Because when Mario came out, that shit had niggas who normally played outside in the house for 8-9 hours at a time. You don't, as a matter of fact, I could do one better. It's gonna sound like an insult, but it's not. You're not qualified to talk about what happened back then because you didn't live in that era. You didn't see the impact it had, both personally and culturally. I can't talk about what James Brown music was because I'm not from that era. I can say if I like it or if I don't like it, but I could never call it trash. I could never say it was great because I didn't live in that era to see what it had personally as far as effect goes to a community, to a people.
Also, again, I want to state that I never said this shit was bad.
No, you said it was simplistic.
And it's still simple.
But
it's very simple.
It wasn't simple back then. It was very complicated back then because nobody else was doing it.
I take offense to it because in my love for it, that shit was difficult to do then. Like you just didn't do it. Like how did he come up with that? How did you come up with that? It's a whole different thought process. So you got 30 years, 40 years of that thought process evolving over time, and somebody chooses not to actually listen to it and call it old and not relevant, and just make up some simple shit like it's the hot shit. It ain't that hot. It's not as creative as it could be.
I look at it like a retro though.
It's not paying homage though. It's not paying no homage to it.
Wait, who's not paying homage?
Tell them, Tommy.
There's several examples of them saying it ain't.
But then there are several.
I never even listened. I never listened to Tribe Called Quest.
But there's examples of those who did it. There are people who respect what came before them.
I haven't heard it, but if I heard it, I would give them.
I'm not a nigga that's. I look at it like I'm not gonna disrespect some shit that I like. I enjoy hip hop. I used to rap, and my favorite rapper is probably a simplistic nigga at times. There are times where he'll give you some shit, you be like, damn, that made me think. And then there'll be some shit where it's ABC 1, 2, 3, but it's still cold.
But
if it's still cold, that means it's not simplistic.
As a rapper, I would hope that I would have hoped that you would have given Coogee Rap way more props than that's simple. When he was probably the most complex rapper in his time.
But again,
that's what pissed Tommy.
Yeah.
But again, though, like he was saying, that's me listening to it now versus me being 15, 16 when Coogee Rap dropped, and that's the dopest shit ever.
There was nobody touching dude when he came out.
But
literally.
Again, in the conversation we had, Tommy, would you refuse to acknowledge that I never said he was Like I never said folks was trash. I didn't say it was weak. I just said that rhyme scheme and rhyme pattern in which he was rapping, it was very simple.
Now it could be seen simple. One, because it's been repeated several times by several artists,
so
and
that's all I said. It was the way he was rapping on that song.
No,
I didn't say the bars was trash. I just said the format and delivery
wrong, though.
was ABC 1, 2, 3.
That whole statement is wrong because it wasn't simple back then. Niggas wasn't sitting on corners doing ciphers back then. Rap was something that was unheard of in that era. So to do it was very complicated. As a matter of fact, to be signed as a rap artist was very complicated back then.
In actuality, at the same time that song that you heard, Run DMC was at their peak, and motherfuckers was swearing by Run DMC. Talk about a simple rhyme scheme. That's the most simplest rhyme scheme in the world. But then Coogee Rap is spitting like that. You're like, it's night and day.
As a matter of fact,
this is also the same era of Kumo D too. And
right.
You heard I Go to Work, and you heard how he went off.
That we never gonna see eye to eye on this, so we can switch.
But that's why I say people aren't qualified to go back and talk about things that they truly didn't experience.
And you know what? When you say that, you're absolutely right. I may not be qualified. I'm not qualified to speak about a lot of shit that I talk about.
Right.
But if it's a conversation,
I say this in multiple different spaces. Just like the people that you get a 23-year-old kid now, and I ask them who's the greatest of all time in basketball, and they say Jordan.
I hate that. That's like when people be like Pac and Biggie. I hate it. When you're not from that era, don't say it. And that's okay to not say it.
My problem with that whole statement is I'm 41 years old. And I barely remember Jordan's first 3 rings. And I'm 41. How are you at 23, 25, 31, 33, 34, 35 going to tell me that Jordan is a GOAT? You're going off something you heard, not something you watched, you witnessed, or anything. Because as many arguments that you can make as Jordan is the GOAT, I can make that he's not the GOAT because I watched him play. I know what he went through to get to the first fucking finals. That you don't count, that you don't say. As a matter of fact, I remember when he came back from playing baseball. Mind you, nobody made him retire. He chose to retire. He was trash at baseball. He came back, and then they got put out the fucking playoff.
Kenny was whooping his ass.
People act like Jordan's career was only 6 years.
And then I can actually speak on the career of him just being trash. I mean, being on a trash team, scoring a whole bunch of points. Like, dog was cold, but he was like, whatever. It's almost like when who's a hot player that was on a scrubby team, like right now.
Bradley
Shit,
Beal.
you could do Damian Lillard.
Dame Lillard for sure.
Like, damn, dog cold. Will he ever get any help? Oh, well, he scored a lot of points, dog, flashy as shit, but
nobody want to play in fucking Portland.
I'm just saying.
It rains up there.
But shit, dog, Chicago was the same way. It's Chicago.
It is. I'm like, that's why I tell people sometimes you're not qualified to talk about things just because you weren't there to experience it.
I feel like
so to make statements that this person was trash or this person didn't have you could go back and talk about Bill Russell and say his style of play was simplistic. It got that man how many rings?
13.
I mean, his style of play might have been, but for the time that was basketball, that's what was hot.
So how come you can't incorporate that to music?
I didn't say that. I just said it was simple. That's all
but
I
it's
said.
not simple. It was complicated then.
Well, okay, for the time being of what hip hop was in the late 80s, early 80s, then yeah, you might be right. It might have been
late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, hip hop has been around since the 70s.
So when did that song come out that I was like unapologetically saying was something?
That was.
I don't even know what song y'all.
That was 88. The Symphony.
The
Symphony. 88.
That was nice.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And in
1988,
I have a whole entire show dedicated to all the damn motherfucking songs that came out in 1988. That was probably the heaviest year of hip hop history as far as releases and of like strong hip hop content. And in the midst of that is still revered as like a classic joint from 88. Like all the songs that if you pull up the damn playlist, you're like, God damn, that came out in 88.
It is the Wu-Tang triumph of its era.
Yeah.
Best way you can describe it.
Yeah.
Because everybody had a favorite verse, but everybody knew every
and
verse.
The debate on who should have gone last,
right.
Coogee Rap and Big Daddy Kane. And was Big Daddy Kane verse simple?
Most of Big Daddy Kane's verses.
It's just the
simple.
When you look back at it, the way people rap back then, it wasn't.
Indian.
You had your every rap always changes, or rap always evolves. I should say that. You've had your your era of, as you would call it, simplistic rap, where niggas was basically making nursery rhymes. And then you fast forward, you can actually split it off between
party rap, nursery rhyme,
yeah,
gangster rap.
So wait, gangster rap and but you got to split it because the East had theirs with LL and all of them doing their thing, and then you go to the West, and then gangster rap gets introduced.
They love LL.
Then you go, and then you get the South going. So you got all the motherfuckers coming out the South, Dudgeon Family and all of them. They coming out the South as individual artists. Then you fast forward, and now you start getting your Jay-Z, Tupac's and Biggie's, East Coast and West. And really the beef is not the beef, but the real competition was always East Coast and West.
East and West.
Thank God for Andre 3000 and Scarface and them down in the South that made it relevant.
Wait a minute now. You are not going to sit there and disrespect Percy Miller. Because if it was not Percy, the South would not have risen respectfully.
That is the stupidest statement I've ever heard in my damn life.
How long had the Ghetto Boys been ghetto boying, and all of a sudden No Limit hit the scene and everybody is listening?
So you giving all the credit in the South to the Master P?
Master P put out an album every week.
Like Scarface wasn't a fucking star before that, or like Outkast didn't exist.
Yo,
can I get some help time?
My simplistic hip hop take ain't got shit on that. All I said was niggas rap.
Percy Miller. Percy Miller.
You open this door.
I didn't open the door.
Miller.
Okay.
I'm not saying that Master P was the reason why the South.
You just said.
Hold on. That's why I said
he did just say that.
I said you were not. I said we're not gonna disrespectfully Percy Miller out the conversation.
I didn't disrespect Percy Miller. You never let me get to that era.
Just because y'all business partners, Tommy, you can say something.
I was with Pac and
Biggie, and
I said thank God for Andre 3000.
You went to Grambling, nigga.
But Andre 3000 and them came.
I was there.
Say something, Tommy. You went to Grambling.
It was around about the same time. No Limit and Cash Money was really. They were everywhere in the South. I was living in the South.
But you never let me get to that point. I'm going through a timeline, and you jump in and say that Master P made the South. That's completely false.
I'm not going to say completely. I won't say completely.
He wasn't completely, but he made niggas recognize the South.
He intensified the independent label push, and he made major record labels see that, oh wait, they taking my money. We need to do something about this shit.
That is completely fine, and I agree with that statement wholeheartedly.
But he didn't make the South.
I didn't get to that point yet. Yeah. I was still going.
Tone jump started on the conversation.
Pac and Biggie, and then I said, thank God for Andre 3000 and Outkast in the South to make them. Of course, right. And as a matter of fact, it's right after that.
It was right in the same era, same time frame.
Master P
and
got big. And Cash Money came about 2-3 years later.
Yeah.
And everybody started rising. But I'm not giving Master P sole credit for everything that happened.
I'm not giving him.
Was he an intricate part? Yes. But I'm not giving him credit. No. Because you're negating people like Uncle Luke. That had been around for years.
I give you that. A lot of them niggas.
I give that because they really.
And that's a nigga that's disrespected more than anybody.
Right, I was like,
MJG and 8 Ball. Coming out hard came out before
UGK.
Yeah,
UGK. Speaking of 2 Live Crew, a lot of people tend to forget about them because they're the reason why explicitness is such a big thing in hip hop now.
Uncle Luke is the reason why explicitness is. 2 Live Crew was a part of it, but it's all because of Uncle Luke. That's why you used to have on your tape,
explicit warning. Yeah. So we didn't used to have that.
I didn't actually look at Uncle Luke as the South. It was Florida.
And I think that's what I think that's the problem.
Yes, because Florida is in Midwest.
I was just going to say
no.
Florida not at the bottom?
No.
It's America's dick.
It's like when you hear South music, you think of like UGK, Ghetto Boys, Kiki, Watts, all of them, and you technically don't naturally group 2 Live Crew as
because he's the most disrespected hip hop artist ever. People should thank God that Uncle Luke came through and did what Uncle Luke took all the bullets so niggas could get through the door. Remember, the
true.
first that go through the door is the one that always gets shot.
Yeah.
Uncle Luke was taken to the Supreme Court.
Yup.
Uncle Luke was threatened with jail time.
Yeah.
All this shit that he beat so niggas could get up and rap freely. So fucking Suki Hana can show her ass. None of that will happen if it wasn't for Uncle Luke.
And
Yo, I'm mad. Wait, tell me.
There
I'm
would be-
mad that you 41 and you just made a Sukiyana reference. Like,
No,
bro,
no,
I'm just
you
saying.
gotta
No,
relax.
you got to
You
think
gotta
about
bring
it.
it
You
to
got,
today.
no, you got to give him credit. If there was no
I'm
Uncle
not
Luke,
saying that.
there would be no pussy rap. And if there's no pussy rap, there's a lot of women
Yo,
rappers that
Cardi
wouldn't have a
B's, yo,
career.
Megan Thee Stallions, all them.
and I have to say this because I was a
I hate
witness
when
to
people
it.
step on the
When
joke.
Luke was performing, no matter where he was, and I happened to be in South Beach when there was a music conference.
You were everywhere.
Oh, you was at Freaknik?
I was at
He
How
was. He said that all the time.
I was at How Can I Be Down, which was a huge music conference in like 95, 96. I can't remember what it was. When Luke performed, every fucking artist that was down there, like, we going to the Luke show. They gave Dog all props
If
in the
you
world.
pop up in this documentary,
He been scared
Mm.
for the longest.
Like, when it comes to Lifetime Achievement Awards, Luke should
you don't
have
got one,
everyone.
do it.
No,
They
and
don't
that's
give
why I
him one.
said he's the most disrespected
Hip-hop.
artist ever.
Hip Hop Awards should give him one.
You make a movie
Stevie
about
Wonder ain't got one.
NWA and their impact to music. While it was big and was great, and I do agree with it, and a lot of big names came out of the NWA, nobody looks that Luke Skywalker
It started with him.
did all this shit. So this nigga got beat down and drugged so these motherfuckers could fly.
Mhm.
Remember, they weren't threatening NWA with jail time. They were just, the Supreme Court was writing cease and desist letters and stuff to them. They were threatening to lock up Luke for his music.
Technically, the only reason why NWA ever got on anybody's radar was the "Fuck the Police" song. If they never released that song, NWA would just be.
And mind you, hey, we want some pussy was out before that. So they didn't give a fuck about we want some pussy, but fuck the police. Oh.
But when Uncle Luke said it years before that, well, along the lines of that, with the "Hey Lizard," all this shit, and the girls dancing and stuff, they wanted Luke in jail.
Mhm.
I can honestly
He was
say
poisoning their minds.
I've never called Uncle Luke trash.
No, I'm not
So,
saying you
No,
did.
me personally, I'm
but
saying for the people out there, I never called
You
that
can't
man
go
trash.
back and look at, all Luke and Two Live Crew and what was the other group he had? It was Two
Poison
Live.
Clan.
Poison Clan.
Yeah, all them
He
groups.
only used them for dissing people, though.
You can't go back and look at them groups and then say, it's okay. When shit, the birthday song is still one of the biggest songs you play when somebody's birthday.
Facts.
You got
I've been in the club
you got
and they
people
play
down
that
there
stupid shit.
They're in there 35 years later still singing it. What's that number one zodiac sign? Yeah. and the chicks sweating and bending over and shaking their ass and all that stuff to this song.
But and now that you say that, like I saw a TikTok about I think it was Mr. Fab is or Mr. FAB.
Yeah.
And he was talking about Too Short. And when he was running down like the shit Too Short did for hip hop, I was like, damn, do we not give Too Short enough love
No.
for what he did?
As a matter of fact,
Like, I didn't even know Too Short signed Lil Jon. And then let him out his contract, and then Lil Jon like blew up as this mega producer and shit. I was like, oh, that's an interesting hip hop fact I didn't know.
9 times out of 10, you get your flowers when you die.
I remember going
I
to
see, and that's fucked up.
I remember
But
going
it's
down to a
always been
family
like that.
reunion in Mississippi, and my cousins had came. I don't know where they had came from, and they was playing Born to Mac.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard no shit like that in my life. I'm like,
Oh, Too Short was cold.
but the song was long as hell. It was just a drum track, and he was just talk about simple rhymes.
I know for sure. But
Talk
he was,
about
like,
he was
nah.
spitting some shit though. But it was simple as fuck.
It was simple as fuck.
He was spitting
His
game.
cadence was so slow and simple.
Niggas
He's
love that
spitting
shit.
game.
That beat
But
was
as long as he ended it with "bitch," we was cool.
Too Short beat spitting game.
Freaky Tale. That's the one song. I was like, this is a song? This song long as fuck.
Who's your favorite rapper? All time.
I don't know because it changes.
It
It
technically
changed-
it,
it-
always changed.
It's always changing.
change.
Because
Well,
like
no,
right,
mine's never changed, but
Hmm.
like mine's never changed. But like there are people that I frequent that I like.
because like right now at the stage of my life I'm in is Benny the Butcher.
You're not wrong.
You've been on Benny for a minute, dog.
Yo,
He can't miss. I've never heard a song where he missed. Never heard a song where he missed.
you know, I really,
Even when Conway came at him as hard as he could, and Conway might have had the better verse. I've never heard Benny miss.
You've been on Benny.
I
for a
want a
minute.
lot like before. Like we was having, I don't know.
But
what-
my personal favorite will always be MJG.
I don't know what
You
we
know
was
I
talking
love,
about
You know I love MJ.
in the wrestling group.
Still think that
They
first
got-
album was trash.
They're wrestling fans, so I think Vinyl was dropping like
Coming
certain
Hard?
tracks that they got
No,
that was
his first
titled
solo
after
album.
wrestlers.
Oh, so, okay.
That was how I started listening to them niggas. I was like, man, let me click.
Oh
these
no, I
links.
fucked with,
And
and I don't know how I started
They-
fucking with.
they
Oh,
like
Griselda.
they were on Jimmy Fallon one night. I was
Yeah.
watching Jimmy Fallon, and I was like, these niggas sound so much to me like Wu-Tang Clan. And I went back and listened to the album, and I'm like, dog. After that, I was addicted. I'm the biggest Griselda fan. I was sad when Conway left the group
I'm like that with what's the name of that group right now?
because I always wanted it to
Kostra.
be West Side. If West Side had left, I'd have been fine because I hate West Side.
Because at first I
you don't
remember
like what side
no,
go?
I don't like
Ah,
this
man.
whole conversation.
I
like that.
You're right. But we turned the corner. We turned the corner. I'm like, what the fuck is this nigga talking about?
I don't know. I like it though.
I
like it.
You like, hey, that I fuck with that. That's cool.
Speaking of Coogee Rap, because when Coogee Rap had come back at one point, somehow he hooked up with 38 Special. And when I first heard 38 Special, I was like, I'm not really liking 38 Special. Like when I heard him with Coogee Rap, but then I heard him with Griselda and the niggas, I was like, I like 38 Special. That funny as hell.
It's like Juan always says, it depends on who you put people with. Because Juan hated Nas until his recent run, because now his beats match his flow.
I've always hated Nas's beat selection.
And
Nas's beat selection.
You listen to a lot. I mean, have you listened? You know, Griselda, like a lot of their albums and stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, so previous to this, Griselda always had to what I consider like the most simplistic. And
They wouldn't have
beat
drums
until the Benny the Butcher got Hit Boy to do his album.
Yes, yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, Benny the Butcher with real beats.
Yeah,
I love
Is
that shit.
everybody, is Hitman saving everybody's career right now?
Wow.
Hit Boy is, like
Hit
how
Boy
you
is
had
it.
that epiphany when you heard. That is how I felt with like Nas when they was like Nas and Hit Boy. I was like, well, I like Hit Boy because Hit Boy do Drake shit. And Drake be bumping. Even though I don't fuck with Drake like that, some of the songs be bumping. I listened to that. I was
Some
like,
of the songs be bumping. Oh damn, they're all Drake. You ain't gotta like them to admit
right.
that.
Drake shit
At
hit,
this
yeah.
point, if you hate Drake, you just hate
Drake
him.
also at times. Drake used to be a heavy spitter, but now his bars are getting very simplistic. Because I was listening to Nonstop, that beat hits hard, but Drake don't talk about shit on this whole damn song.
I just hit the switch, flip.
Drake got so many memorable. Even the song he got ate up on by fucking was it Lil Baby?
Oh, I know
No,
what you're talking about. Where
I can't think of
You-
it.
a Lil
I
Baby
just
or
got the
Dirk?
ends. What is the name of that fucking song? Was it Lil Baby? Yeah, it was Lil Baby.
Not familiar.
I feel like at this point, Drake is so far ahead of it. I could be wrong, but I feel like
Drake is an artist.
Drake is so far ahead of niggas.
What year is this?
It's
2023.
2023.
And he been rolling since 2009.
Yup, because I'm mixtape Drake.
No, like being out since 2009, but then really like putting your like on the
Yeah,
game.
but I'm saying, like, when he came out in 2009, he was all the buzz. Like, niggas, like, have you heard this nigga before?
Him,
And it's-
Kendrick, and Cole.
Yeah. And dog ain't let go. He has not let go of radio.
Yeah,
Dog has the radio on a chokehold.
Drake is the male version of Beyonce.
Might be a little bit better, bro.
Do you think Drake better than B?
Might be a little bit better in regards to influence.
Dog depend on everybody's shit. He's got everybody on this shit.
I was just like a musical thing. Like, where you at? And like that to me, that I'm just like music. Like when I compare. Oh yeah, I know that. They play that shit on 2K. I know that song.
Dog, Lil Baby ate this nigga alive on this song, and it still was a good song by Drake.
I like Lil Baby.
Lil Baby has his moments where he goes crazy.
Speaking of eating up on the
Him
track,
and Dirk.
I know you like Benny the Butcher, but why did I let J. Cole on that track? What is it? The Cadillac?
Yeah.
Dog.
I like Jake.
J. Cole, man, when he gets a feature, which he don't do often,
Oh,
he annihilates you.
he just did.
I think.
He just did Dirk song,
Oh, word.
and he kept like that. He killed that shit.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Dirk was like, "No, I'm not rapping. After you rap, I'm just gonna sing.
No,
I'm just
Benny,
gonna sing.
Benny,
Me rapping after you call? Nah, it's not.
Benny,
gonna work.
arrogant nigga. He came back like he had some shit, and he was nice.
Mm.
But I was like, he could have kept his verse off that.
But they done made so many skits about that damn song I just played.
Yes.
That's ridiculous because everybody who has ears knows that Lil Baby just bodied Drake and wasn't a diss or anything. He just out rapped him on his own song.
It happens.
So there's
sometimes.
one where they show like Lil Baby going to the booth all casual and get to rapping. And then out of nowhere, this nigga starts turning into a Super Saiyan. That's just rapping and shit like that. And Drake was like, "How much more powerful can he get?"
Is that the animated one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the animated ones be funny.
I saw the one they did when it was him and Dirk. They did a song for the DJ Khaled shit.
Yep, that
and
one.
The way Lil Baby rapping, and then like Dirk was gonna walk in the booth and be like,
No, wait.
And then all of a sudden he hits the alley where Khaled be like, "Hold on, keep going."
All right.
Keep going. And all of a sudden,
And he just go crazy.
I mean, it kind of messed up when the feature actually bodies, the.
I don't think Drake cared though.
I know
think
he don't
care,
but
he knows what the end result is.
For us as spectators, we like to throw shit on the fire.
But that's what makes us start listening to whoever the feature artist is. Because I'm not saying that Eminem wasn't big on Renegade, but a lot more niggas paid attention to him after Renegade.
You know who did that for me? Beanie Siegel.
On which song?
All of them.
No, his first time I heard was on the Root song.
I can't go on.
Never been.
What's the Root song?
Really?
Adrenaline.
Nice. I just
when he
never had none. That
I think me and Skills argue about that because he was like, the best person on Rockefeller.
It was Beans.
To me, it was Beans.
It was Beans.
I was like,
as far as just rapping.
As far as just rapping.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It was Beans.
All the shine Jay wanted to give Bleak, he should have gave it to Beans.
He should.
No. He tried to give it to
but
Bleak.
Beans couldn't stay out of trouble.
Yeah, but
so I get it.
We tried to. Beans wouldn't lead the streets.
Beans said that on what was that the podcast, Noriega podcast.
Yeah, he said
Drink Champs
Club one too.
He was like he just wasn't ready, and he didn't understand why Jay left him in court because the judge asked him, "Would you be responsible? Not would you keep him out of trouble, and would you be responsible?
For him
for Beans?" And Jay told him on the stand, no. And he cried about that because he felt like Dre betrayed him. I mean, Jay betrayed him. But he looks back at that now and he's like, dude, I was wild. Jay had stuff he was trying to do and place he was trying to accomplish.
I ain't got no time for this shit.
And I like, nigga, if I've been trying this entire time, like I'm trying, let's do this, let me get you out of here. And then you keep fucking up when the judge said, hey, you want to watch this nigga?
A street mind like Beans was like, Jay could have asked me to go off somebody and I'd have did it with no question. He's like, the judge didn't even ask this nigga, to be responsible. He just asked, would, you see after him, would you this?
Oh, so he wanted Hov to lie. And Hov was like,
no, he wanted Hov to really tell that what he wanted, in my opinion, was for Hov to say, yes, I'll look after him. Yes, I'll make sure he stay out of trouble. Hov, like, look, you gonna he didn't get to be a billionaire by being stupid. He's like, dog, this nigga's a lost cause. He needs to go to jail. I don't care how much money he made me, how cool we is, how good of friends we is. This nigga need to be locked up.
That's a harsh reality that some of your friends don't be ready for. Like, hey, bro, you probably need to go sit down. Do a year or two and come back when you're ready.
If Tommy was looking after me and Tommy was like, because I'm sure Jay would have seen the potential in Beans.
Jay absolutely did. He put him on that damn Hot 97 as
on the label. Like, any feature that Beans was on,
that was a crazy. Not even
any feature. Like his album, he didn't really get to just do. He did until he got to the Becoming. Because when the Becoming came out, that album was a complete album from track 1 to track 12. That shit was good. Now his first two albums, man, they were okay. They had some hits on them, but a complete album, the Becoming. Listen to that shit.
Yeah, I'll go back.
As a matter of fact, what do we use? Real Bar Talk. We use one of the tracks off the Becoming, the him and Redman.
Oh yeah.
The dun 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 dun.
That's the one with It's On it.
But in other hip hop news,
I Can't Go On This Way is on that one. In the air. Yep, you're right. That's my favorite Beans.
Jermaine Dupri and Diddy. So is this official now? They really gonna do this battle?
Yeah,
because I keep seeing podcast niggas just speculate.
Versus announced it.
Now I feel like it should be a 2-part versus because these niggas got hits every fucking word. They could do rap, they could do R&B, they could do it all. I feel like it should be a 2-part versus. What you think? One night?
Pick your best 20.
Yeah, this is the deepest.
This is the one you got to do your homework
got on a versus ever.
And I'm glad they're doing this because like. Your homie. He be disrespecting the shit out of JD, and I never appreciate it.
Who?
Scales.
Oh.
And I get it, Diddy is Diddy, but niggas be acting like Jermaine Dupri
You
ain't
need to
did
have
shit.
Skills down here and had a conversation with him. I'd have had it many times. And you know what? It's not that Skills really.
He take pictures from the parking lot, tell me you're here, then don't be here. So he can't be here.
Like Skills don't.
I hope you see that because he did that shit.
Skills don't necessarily like not give the credit.
No, he
to
don't.
Jermaine Dupri.
I've seen several stats.
No. He said Jermaine Dupri got his, but he doesn't think that that basically he thinks his arms is too short to box with God. And
so you think a nigga who actually make beats?
But what
write
Scales
songs
don't understand, that I told him many times,
can't be the
it
curator?
depends on what you pick. See, if
that's the strategy.
If I am Puffy and I sit up and pick the 20 songs I like the most or I think were the best, and they're not really those 20 songs, JD can eat you alive because JD has hits.
If Diddy,
it's like one second. It's just like when niggas when Jadakiss went against Fabulous, and everybody, including myself,
who's like,
everybody was down. Fabulous is, and then Jadakiss ate him alive.
Mm-hmm.
Same way, like I just made a stat that Nelly shit didn't age well because everybody was like, "Oh, Nelly gonna wash Luda," but Luda knew how to pick his song.
I never even said that. And I think Diddy would do the same thing. I think Diddy will pick the right songs, not necessarily because he's the better of the two. No, he's gonna pick the right songs.
I think because Diddy is not a hands-on nigga. To me, like Diddy gets a credit because he's a curator.
He's a scientist.
He's a curator.
Yeah.
So he's probably gonna know how to curate his 20 songs, probably a little bit better than JD. But that's because that's what the fuck he do. He sit there.
That's what he does. That's all he does.
JD does though.
I mean, but from my standpoint, like JD can.
JD might have
also can make a beat. He also writes the fucking song. Like
he might have his hand. He might have his hands in too many things.
But
I mean, it don't mean he's not great.
I think it's gonna be interesting.
Everybody leans on the fact this nigga had big. This nigga had. I'm like, okay, yeah, he did have big. But how many big songs can he play before everybody starts saying, okay, you just want a Biggie versus?
We just did a paint and sip at Vibes where it was Tupac versus Biggie, and I made the playlist. And Chrisella came to me, she was like, "There's a lot of Tupac playing." I'm like, he got way more songs than Biggie. Biggie, the shuffle wasn't shuffling enough. And that's no disrespect to Biggie. Biggie's one of my favorites.
Biggie got 2 albums and some scattered features.
Yeah, and some remakes.
The fuck do he
You
got,
gotta
man?
remember, Pac got more albums when he dead than some niggas' whole career.
Yeah.
Biggie is the Penny Hardaway of hip hop.
Oh my!
But I think that JD will spend more time.
How's that wild, Tom?
Just
what?
Biggie is the Penny Hardaway of hip hop, which is the most ludicrous statement I've ever heard.
Right, let's put it like this. Did you watch? You come from that 90s era, but did you watch Penny Hardaway?
Mm-hmm.
Was Penny Hardaway not cold?
Yes.
Was Biggie cold?
Yes.
Did Penny Hardaway's career get cut short due to knee injury?
Yeah.
Biggie died.
But here's the thing: if you want to look at it in that aspect, Biggie was a champion, multiple time champion.
Mm-hmm.
How do you only have 2 whole albums to your name, and you're considered one of the greatest of all time?
Wow.
That's
who is considering this nigga to be the greatest of all time?
The world. When you ask anybody, they top 5
you
list,
literally
Biggie's on there.
You
in
literally
the top
just
3.
said you hate when young niggas put Pac and Biggie on their list, and they do that because the niggas who were there really do put Big and Pac on their list because they really are that good. You gotta give credit where you.
Well, how old are you? 34. Okay, I'm 41. So when Life After Death came out, you would have been how old? Because that was 90. What? 90,
96, 97.
97. Okay, so how old would you been? 97.
4 years. That's Mimi would have been 13. I'm 4 years younger than her.
You're 9-10.
So you're 9-10.
I'm 9-10.
You did not experience Notorious Thugs.
But if I say Armed and Dangerous, ain't too many can bang with us, straight up we know Angel Dust. What's the name of that song?
Notorious.
Notorious Thugs.
Okay, so keep that in mind. You were 9 years old when this album came out. But to this day, you can name the song without me saying the title. You can name the song does that not credit how great that man was?
You got a point there.
That's fine.
You got a point there.
But like, I think me and
Because if I gave you a Big L line, you're gonna be like, who the fuck is that?
But like,
and Big L was cold.
Sir, like,
I really didn't listen to Big
like,
L.
But when you say it like that, I feel like people who grew up like me are an anomaly. Cause I grew up around my uncle who was, like I told you, he's the death row nigga.
Finish this line. How you living, Biggie Smalls?
In mansions and
Got you.
You won't be the only person that can say that. You won't be the only person to answer that.
But I feel like because people like you and me, that's what we like. My little brother probably knows that fucking line because when I clean up the house, I listen to Juice.
But that credit how great this man was. His 2 albums,
his longevity, his staying power.
Yeah.
Now it's concentrated.
One. Okay. There's a particular artist that you hate to death because everybody keeps throwing her on their list, and she only has 1 album.
Fuck her, man. We're not talking about her.
But that album, yes, but that album is a masterpiece.
Wait, who?
Lauryn Hill.
Oh.
It's a masterpiece.
It wasn't hip hop to me though.
Right, that's another thing. Like
that
shit ain't even hip hop.
R&B, neo soul kind of shit. Like,
okay.
She came out.
Hold on.
She came out with a fire rap song.
Hold on. I give you that, but it goes back to how we started the whole thing. At that time, there was no category for that.
Right.
Because Drake is what Lauryn Hill was now. He can walk in any lane, and we cool with that because Lauryn Hill was able to walk and create that lane.
Or
to begin
how
with.
people keep Chris Brown in the R&B category when this nigga raps better than most niggas out.
He got bars.
America, if you are listening, I would like for y'all to just like go to fucking sleep or forgive Chris Brown. Either or, take a pick. Like at some point, y'all gotta let what he did the fuck go.
I mean,
especially if the motherfucker he did it to said, "Hey, you good? We're cool. I'm sorry, you good? Like it's over."
Once a villain, always a villain to people.
Fam, like, but
you talking about the
Rihanna
shit? No, the Rihanna shit. Hey, if he watched Usher, I'm all for that.
He didn't touch Usher.
Usher probably said some shit out of line. And probably
first of all, it started with Chris.
This nigga's unhinged. That's it. These unhinged.
Again, whether he's unhinged or Usher started it, I'm okay with him watching Usher.
Does to you. It takes a special person to not self-destruct.
The story that I heard was that Chris was on some shit and
he was
Usher was
trying. He was fucking with Tiana Taylor while he was either drunk or on that shit. Could be both. Usher didn't like the way he was disrespecting Tiana Taylor or some of the other women in the place.
And then he got washed.
Here's the thing. He got Chris. Chris was like, fuck this shit. I'm going back to my truck. He said some things about Usher. Usher went to go have a conversation with him. Chris crew jumped him. So Chris really didn't touch him. It was
what did Usher think was gonna happen?
That's not what I heard.
That's what I heard.
I heard that Usher was trying to break some shit up, and it looked like a scuffle.
Hey, look,
he got muffed or something like that, trying to calm him down or something like that. Same thing. He was outside though.
The thought of it was
nobody saw it.
The thought of it was hilarious though. I ain't gonna
Somebody
lie
had
to
to see it for it to get reported.
No phone footage.
It hit all the black. It hit all the black news.
No phone footage.
Chris Brown and a bunch of Bloods beating up Usher just sounds hilarious.
But I've always said this: these R&B niggas are 10 times harder than
But dog threw the party.
That's hip hop right there.
Didn't he throw the party for Chris?
Yeah. That's
he was hosting it. That's the part that everybody.
That's even more gangster.
That like Usher paid for the shit and all of that. He was hosting the party. You can host stuff and not, have thrown it for them.
Tori, if you host Tone's birthday, and then I sneak you outside, I'm like, what does that look like?
Yeah, it looks bad.
It looks crazy.
It looks bad. But I say, man, don't fuck with these R&B niggas. This shit been going on for years. These singers are way harder than all these motherfuckers that claim they was, except for King Von. That nigga was a minute. That is old dog. Okay, that just sound like one of Tommy boys.
Right.
Tommy, this kind of nigga you run with. That's why you say so squeaky clean.
And it make me feel bad because I like the music, but I'm like, you was really.
Yeah, what happens when you find out the music was all real?
Man,
real.
Saying, bro. Like.
I shot 10 niggas last night, and the nigga really did shoot 10
Like
niggas.
just watching that little documentary, and then like he would point out like the bar, and then he would have a story when that nigga said, "Yeah, we slid and shot up a funeral," and then he was like, "Yeah, so this," and they really like niggas was shoot. I was like, "So I'm gonna shoot up your funeral outside, rest in peace." You a real nigga? You wow?
I swear,
That's crazy.
I swear, I hate to make music look bad, but these niggas is stupid.
They are.
No,
I mean, I
for
understand art imitates life, but my God, why would you repeat shit that you could get you thrown in? YSL, why would you repeat shit on
Because
tape
niggas
that you could get
niggas did not want to be accused of lying on the mic and fronting. So if you gonna talk this street shit, you got to be from the streets. And they thought that's what you're supposed to do.
Okay, Jay raps about selling drugs. There's no way you can go back
And prove
15 or 20 years and prove that he sold this hype some drugs. Even if the hype come out and like, yeah, he sold me drugs.
You a hype. We're not gonna believe it.
It's word versus word.
Right.
When you got bodies that haven't been found, when you got bodies that dropped and you don't have a killer for, when you got money that's unaccounted for, all that shit paper trails back. And you rapping about it.
And the funny part is niggas used to do that back in the days, but they wouldn't bring the rap lyrics into court. But then when they started bringing them in court, now all you niggas is really just handing them confessions. Like, oh yeah, well on this,
because if he was still alive, he was definitely finna go to jail because they got all the niggas from the FBG Duck murder.
Oh yeah,
and he was the last one because he paid for it.
He was,
and it was crazy just watching. It was like, so FBG Duck gets murdered. Then they got this nigga on camera, and like 3 days later in the jewelry store, it's like, yeah, let me get 7 O-Block chains. Excuse me, sir, what are you doing? Like y'all just documenting crimes now.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on, I'm gonna do this. Thank you guys for having me. I'm gonna step out.
Shit got too real for you?
No, I gotta do something real quick. But I got baited into talk about JD, but JD's gonna be very impressive in that.
I think it boils down to exactly what Tori says, how you pick it.
JD.
Because when you look at JD's just his writing credentials alone, he got an easy.
Oh, his latest, I sent you the latest release with Currency.
Mm-hmm.
He out here like, hey, I still make banging beats too, and he produced that whole shit. I'm like, have you heard it? He got some new project with Currency.
Welcome to Atlanta needs to start.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Welcome to Atlanta.
But they're gonna be in New York, so
that's why you got to start the show.
That ain't gonna go.
You got to come in like,
Diddy really fixed this fight.
Yeah, like them niggas should have been in like fucking
Cleveland,
Iowa.
Let's say Cleveland.
You motherfuckers should have just been in fucking Des Moines or something.
Do it in LA. It's safe. No, I don't know if Diddy's safe over there.
The meat and potatoes of why we.
Whoa, why are we talking? Okay.
Yeah.
How you feel about the current product of what we like to watch on Mondays, Fridays, and now Saturday? I like that they do pay-per-views on Saturdays now. That shit's lit.
Love it.
Well, except for NXT. Them motherfuckers want to go against the grain and shit.
But you got to put them on Sundays because WWE take over Saturday. That used to be theirs.
Night of Champions is Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything.
Damn, that's 2 days of wrestling.
Okay, as far as what with the product,
just
overall.
Overall, right now, before we get into some.
Are we talking all of them or just the E?
I know for a fact, me and Tori really only watch the E.
I don't watch it.
I don't watch nothing else.
But,
I've tried to watch AEW, but I just can't get it.
I'll watch it if I'm home.
If I had to give it a grade, I'd give it probably a B, somewhere between a B- and a B. And that's because the product itself, no matter how trash we take it, these motherfuckers is steady making money. Even though their ratings are down, their sales is up. Vince McMahon's a genius when it comes to marketing.
I don't think their sales are down for the typical reason.
No, their ratings are down.
Well, I don't think their ratings are down. Yeah, I don't think the ratings are down for typical reason. I just think we consume it differently.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Like, I think ratings are down because TV is now more on demand type shit.
Right.
So,
or you watch, like, for an example, you didn't watch Raw until today, right?
No, that
was
Vondas.
Vondas didn't watch the group when it was going on.
Right, like Vondas didn't watch Raw,
so you think about it, Vondas it's like what, if 8 of us in the group? So if like 1 out of every 8 people don't watch it when it's live, we watch it later. of course your rating's gonna go down. You're losing numbers because they're not watching it when you guys are keeping tabs.
Right. Some people DVR shit,
Right,
some people
like-
Hulu shit. So
Oh, okay. Well,
Or we watch it. Yeah, we watch it
I'm
on
overall
Hulu.
impressed
instead.
though with the
I like
with the WWE because every time I get tired of Roman being champ,
no, he do something else.
They do something else to make you be like,
I gotta see
damn,
how
I
this,
gotta
see how this turned out.
Because anybody else, I really feel like after 3 years, because this man has been to 3 WrestleManias defending the Universal title, right? So you think about it,
Yeah.
Everybody else, if this had been Triple H, if this had been Stone Cold, if this had been anybody else, The Rock, everybody be like, dude, when is this motherfucker gonna lose his goddamn belt? But Roman and to the genius of Paul Heyman,
I would say it's really Paul Heyman more than anything.
they keep structuring things as to where you kind of want to see Roman win it, like with the whole Cody thing. Cody comes in, the whole finish the story and all this other stuff.
Let me know when I
This
can
is the belt. This is the belt my dad never won. It's a very compelling story. Belt my father never won. I'm about to make my family full circle. I'm gonna do the one thing that my brother couldn't do. I'm gonna bring justice to the Rose name. I'm getting the belt. And I'm gonna hold the high WrestleMania. But then they bring up the fact that Roman is on the cusp of breaking 1,000 days of champ. He's about to pass up. If he beats Cody, he's gonna pass up one record,
Right?
And put him closer to Hulk Hogan's record.
And we know we want that racist out the equation.
And when you look at that, it's something that's impossible to do because when Hulk Hogan was champion, Hulk Hogan wasn't on TV every.
Yeah, wrestling was different.
The belt wasn't defended every once a month or whatever. You only got the big 4 pay-per-views. So at best, Hulk Hogan was defending that belt maybe 5-6 times a year, and 2 of those were on like Saturday night main events that happened once every 6 months.
In which you knew he wasn't gonna lose.
We got a champion that we see him defend his belt. Well, before he got the new contract, we saw him defend his belt once every fucking pay-per-view.
I feel like Roman he's encapsulating that golden era of wrestling when my champion was important because we don't see you every week. Like, I don't know if like when you watch wrestling, if you pay attention, like even if we're watching Raw and Roman ain't been on TV for 3 weeks, when Roman is coming back to SmackDown, there's a promo. They make it feel special. So you got to get your tickets.
And guess what?
Whether they in like Des Moines,
everybody
Iowa,
tunes in because they want to hear what Roman's going to say.
They want to know why Roman's on Raw.
I like that they make it feel special when he does show up. So him still being champion, I don't really mind it because he's not on TV every fucking week. When we see Roman, it's usually finna be something big. Like I knew after WrestleMania, I'm like, well, Roman ain't wrestling Backlash. I don't know who the fuck they finna get the main event this shit. That's when I was like, okay, well, we're gonna do a 6-man. I thought the 6-man would have been Cody and them versus the Bloodline. But then they brought Riddle back for no fucking reason.
But think about it.
Well,
it makes sense.
Ask anybody are they truly sick of Roman? And if they say yes, then ask them why are you sick of Roman?
They're sick of him being champ, but they're not sick of the Bloodline story.
The people that I've talked
to, they're
to,
not sick of him being champ. Because you would have to follow that up. Well, then who should have the belt other than Roman? Because anybody else, I'm gonna tell.
They don't have an answer.
I said this before, and I'll say it again. If Cody had won that belt,
what's next?
Right down the toilet. Because Cody would not have been able to fill Roman's shoes. Whoever dethrones Roman has to be able to fill those shoes.
And that's why we said when you're ready to pull Gunther up to the main event, to the belt, that's the only person
it has to go to somebody
who is just as dominant.
I feel like when Roman does lose this belt, not my personal opinion, I could be wrong, reading this wrong. I feel like it's not going to be special anymore.
It's going to be
like this title won't be special because we're going to go back to regularly scheduled programming with your champion is going to be on SmackDown every Friday.
When he loses the title.
So it's not going to be special no more.
No. This is a once in a lifetime thing. You're supposed to enjoy it now because it's not going to happen ever again.
Right.
That's why 1,000 days is so fucking major because that's unheard of.
It ain't gonna be 1,000 days. It's gonna be somewhere around 1,500 because he's going to break Hulk Hogan's record.
Right, and that's probably what it is.
Because to be honest, like I really don't see Roman losing the belt.
No, when Roman loses the belt, it's going to
SummerSlam,
be some random screw job ish situation.
He gonna lose it on the cash.
It won't. I don't even think it'll be a cash.
He not gonna. Ain't nobody finna pin Roman in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3.
I think that
they're gonna get that
part. I
moment
think
from
has to happen. Whoever beats Roman has to beat him clean in the middle of the ring, but it has to be the right person. It has to be somebody that can carry those titles and do what Roman's done. Roman is a draw. It's not that Roman's the best wrestler.
Nah,
it's not that Roman's the best on the mic. It's not that Paul Heyman's
he's
the best
better.
player. He's a draw. He's something like an Andre the Giant. People didn't come because Andre the Giant was the most athletic.
Because Andre really didn't even get nowhere near a belt for years, and even when he did, it was only to further a different storyline.
Now, the mistake that they did make, and I think I've said this in the group before, was giving Roman both belts. But what happened was Lashley got hurt.
Yep.
And because Lashley was hurt, they forced them to bounce the belt back to Brock. And when Brock had the belt, well, we know they're going to WrestleMania to fight each other.
Yeah, we knew that before the Royal Rumble even happened. We knew what the main event was.
So, if both of them are going to have belts,
we got to make it feel special. It's got to be special because it's WrestleMania.
Now you give them both belts, but you're like,
we can't have you lose it.
No. I mean, the closest thing he came to a loss, which was a loss, but he didn't get pinned, was when Seth beat him at the Rumble. Right. And that was on DQ because he choked him out.
He still beat the shit out of So I was explaining this to my homeboy because my homeboy is one of those people like he felt like he's sick of Roman. I was like, okay, so let's look at the landscape of
you're the fan that they want. You're the person that WWE wanted to create as the fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. If you are a real fan, stories will bother you.
I don't know what this nigga beef is, but I like this is how I broke it down to him. Like, so you're sick of seeing Roman with this belt.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Insert anybody. You take this belt off for Roman. Roman is still the top guy. So now, instead of your champion not being here, your challenger won't be here every fucking week, which is still going to incite you as a fan because you're like, well, why is Roman not on TV? Mm-hmm. So even if we put the belt on Cody and his next fight is Roman, and the way they skipping pay-per-views and shit like that, so now Roman ain't on TV for 12 weeks, but you got to go out here and fill 12 weeks of TV time because Roman only finna give you 1 to maybe 3 shots.
It's what John Cena told Theory. I'm like, whoever comes and takes his belt off Roman has to be ready because they will not have Roman to lean on or to do promos about for the next month, maybe 2 months after they beat Roman. Whenever Roman gets beat, he's going to take another vacation.
Right.
And this shit is going to be like 4 or 5 months. I'm surprised he's wrestling the Night of Champions in Saudi because I didn't expect to see Roman till somewhere around SummerSlam.
Well, I knowing that Saudi's a big market, I knew he would do Saudi. He wasn't going to Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, no, I ain't doing this shit. I'm going
I'm glad he didn't go to Puerto Rico.
He was going to Saudi.
Because Puerto Rico had enough that was cracking.
Was going
like,
there was enough Puerto Ricans on the card that we was good.
I'm glad y'all brought Puerto Rico up. Now, this is my problem with the WWE. I praise them on
you
what they're
say
doing.
The same thing I was thinking.
But they are so captivated in storylines, they miss moments.
Yep.
Selena Vega should have won in Puerto Rico.
Did we talk about that in the group?
Yeah, we did. That's how I knew
Vega should have won.
Because I made a TikTok about it.
Rhea Ripley beat her the next night on Raw.
And we would have been cool. All of us would have been okay with that. She could have won it as a schoolgirl in Puerto Rico. We wouldn't have cared. Take that moment, win it. She should have won, and Bad Bunny and Paris should have closed.
Main event. Yep.
Only
that match was going
because
down.
Here's the reason why. It was even before we knew the match was cracking. I felt like it should have closed because Bad Bunny is the biggest artist in the world, period. The world. He eclipses Beyonce.
And Drake.
You know what I'm saying? He is
That's
big.
hard to do.
That's hard to do. He's big. And then he's a wrestling fan on top of that.
And then he's a wrestler.
Yeah,
that nigga wrestles.
He's a wrestler.
Did you see the shit he did within a 2-week span? And nigga was at the Met Gala. He did a show, and then he came.
Then on top of that, him and Priest are actual boys. So you knew Priest was going to take care of him in this match. Mm-hmm. So you got 2 Puerto Ricans fighting in Puerto Rico.
Y'all decided to lay Brock and Cody
because you think because Brock said he doesn't want. It's either Brock has to be first or he has to be last. I've been okay with him being first, but because of the Cody Brock story, I can see the problem.
You know what was funny? Like usually when you have a hot match, you kind of stick some shit in the middle of that, and then the main event to cool the crowd off.
The main event was cool.
The main event was the fucking cool down match.
It was Triple H and Jericho all over again.
Man, like y'all let Hogan and Rock go out there. But to Triple H's credit, he was like, I don't want to go out last.
Nobody knew that was gonna happen.
Triple H knew. Triple H
they all knew because
Triple H said, I don't want to go out last.
That pop was with the stare down at WrestleMania, it was 10 times bigger in Chicago when they did it the first time.
This is true.
Oh, when they made the match.
That is true.
When they challenged. Yeah,
so,
Triple H saw that shit coming.
They knew that Brighton was on the wall for that.
They actually need to stop putting champions first. It'll be last. It doesn't have to close with a belt.
Triple H was like, nah.
But you don't have to.
You don't have to close with a belt.
When Shawn and Taker 2, that closed WrestleMania.
Right.
I feel like that.
Both titles were defended before Shawn and Taker went out there and did their match.
I feel like that's just Vince McMahon old school ass mindset. Like, whether you the champion, if you the champion, you regardless of what the match is, as long as you are the champion of my company, you're going out there last.
Now I get it when it comes to cases like Roman, because let's face it, Roman's been at 9 WrestleManias and has main evented 7 of them.
Yep.
The last 7. Well, no, not the last 7. Because the COVID one, he skipped.
Yep.
Yeah, he skipped.
He was supposed to main event it, but he decided, it's a pandemic. I'm not coming.
I got leukemia. I got to chill out.
So that would have made.
I don't think he would have main evented that one.
Yes, he would have.
2020, no, not 2020. 2020, they'd have gave it to Drew because Drew was wrestling Brock. Roman was wrestling Goldberg. That wasn't closing the fucking show.
How many times have you seen the Royal Rumble winner fuck around and
Roman wrestling Goldberg was not gonna close the show.
It's
in my heart of hearts. I don't think that.
It's in your heart of hearts,
but in Vince's mind, it's Goldberg.
No, it's Roman.
Goldberg over Brock.
Remember,
and Roman wasn't even Roman then. He was just Roman.
It's been stated if Vince McMahon could have went into a laboratory and created the perfect
wrestler it'd be Roman.
Would have been Roman.
That's why he was pushing Roman so hard early.
He was shoving Roman down our throats.
Like Roman
in the Shield.
Roman barely hit NXT.
When it comes to the WWE, it's not what you see, it's what you don't see. It's what you don't pay attention to. So when Roman was in the Shield, Roman always stood in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's the one that didn't talk.
Yeah.
He was always in the center. What? He was always the one that they zoomed in on the reaction on their faces. When they faced Evolution, majority of Evolution's fight was at Roman. It wasn't at Dean or Seth. It was all at Roman. Everything that they did kept Roman in your mind. Just little subtle things, because those are the things that stick in your mind.
Going back and watching CM Punk did an interview, and I guess they asked him about the creation of the Shield. When he said who he wanted in the group, that nigga wasn't even there. So when they was like, "Nah, we're gonna put him in," I'm like, "That's the nigga. That's the star." Even when they broke up, I'm like, Roman gonna be big. It's the other two niggas. I don't know what they're gonna do with.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was like, well, Seth, because he's just a flip-flop nigga, he's gonna get lost in the shuffle. And Dean and Roman will be the 2 big stars out of it. When it was, I ain't gonna say Dean flop and WWE flop. It is what it is. The proof is in the pudding. His title run was shit.
It was.
Bad booking or whatever you want to call it. But
I'll call it more bad booking than the fact that Dean hadn't found his stride in the WWE. He needed some time to really develop who he is. That happens. A lot of people get thrown in the fire because they think you were big, you got a good look or whatever. I'm going to just throw you right into the shit. And you find out these people really don't know who they are. If he had been John Moxley, then we would have known that he's
trash.
Yeah, he's not a main eventer.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, he went to AEW and the shit he doing over there, I'm like, that's not the shit you doing here. That don't main event WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
That's
that opens WrestleMania.
Not everybody is meant to be the main event. What he's doing at AEW reminds me of what Christian did when he went to Impact, because Vince was never going to give Christian the look.
Bro, if John Moxley came back to the WWE, he's only going to get a push because niggas missed him.
Well,
talent-wise, nah.
Truth be told, that's the only reason
Cody. That was like getting his Cody. That's literally Cody right now.
But when I said that, I'm hating.
We didn't say
I've
that.
been telling you for the longest I didn't care about Cody.
Cause man, when I wrote it, that nigga is mid.
When Cody showed up at WrestleMania, and we were there when Cody showed up at WrestleMania, he didn't get a second look from me. I was like, hope Seth whoop his ass.
Mid-card, bro. He's so mid-card, man. Dressed as a main eventer.
I just
hated
that everybody knew that it was going to be him before them, so it ruined the moment, in my opinion, because we knew.
Oh, that was the worst kept secret in wrestling.
Like Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble, hands down. Sammy should have been in that match. Sammy should have won Royal Rumble.
He should have.
Nope,
we
knew Cody.
Then turned on fucking Roman later on.
I think if Sammy wins the Royal Rumble, that adds more dynamic to the storyline.
Sammy should have been the one to dethrone Roman Reigns. The reign being is because
based on the
it was a
storyline,
year-long storyline. This shit had been building up for a year. If Sammy had dethroned Roman Reigns, guess what? Sammy could have actually rode that shit for a couple months. Roman get his rest, and then Roman could have came back and beat Sammy and took the belts back.
Sammy having the belt would have left the door wide open for so many people to have an opportunity to beat champ while Roman is taking the break. So even if you wanted to say Sammy 2, you could have did it down the road. But you could have definitely gave a lot of people more of opportunity than now.
Because Sammy is a walking storyline. You can work with a walk. Sammy ain't even got it, even though he can wrestle. Sammy don't even have to be able to wrestle. It's all about the storyline. Your storyline has Brock has never been a great wrestler. Been athletic. He has spots, but he's never been a great wrestler. But what is he? He's a walking storyline. Every time you watch Brock and Omos, you turn around and watch.
How does this nigga keep getting significant spots on the card?
Because he's working with great people that are making him look good. Think about it. Everybody said Puerto Rico
to beat him.
Right, Puerto Rico was his best match ever. And look who he worked with. We always say Miz and Seth.
He took Snake Eyes.
Yep.
He's got his choke slam. He's starting to build a move set.
Yeah,
it's great.
The match in Puerto Rico,
the fact
him versus Seth, and then him versus Brock.
Curb stomp, and Seth had to do a
super curb. So it's gonna be on the game next year now.
Brock and Seth probably his two best matches.
Because
even though I think him and Bobby worked more than like when he was
him and Bobby would have been good, but because of his limited move set with Bobby, who's just more powerful just as well, it didn't work well. It was good. It was a C at best.
I mean, but they just repeated it with Brock.
People don't understand is,
but Brock is a little bit different.
What you got to realize is what developmental does, and everybody
a little bit different.
You go to developmental to learn all of these how to wrestle and how to be yourself in developmental. That's not true. You go to developmental to learn how to take bumps, how to go over the top rope, how to cut a promo without stuttering.
Yeah,
but it doesn't ever find who you are. Everybody we've seen come through the curtain and debut in the WWE had to find themselves.
Yep.
Austin didn't know who the fuck he was when he came to. He knew how to be stunning Steve Austin, but he didn't know how to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Rock, when he came through curly hair and all that shit, he had to find himself. John Cena, tights, and all this shit. And I'm naming greats. I'm naming people that are at the top of the food chain. John Cena didn't know who the fuck he was.
And I
Triple H.
And I think that's why
he was a blue blood. Before he became the guy.
Regal's understudy.
He was French before he got here.
Right.
he was over in WCW getting his ass whooped for no reason.
Even though we don't really watch it a lot, well, I know I don't watch it as much as I used to watch it, like we used to, but I feel like that's the importance of what NXT does. So even though like the actual developmental process, like behind the curtain performance center doesn't help you find yourself, I feel like when they put you in NXT and you get this TV time, that is your.
But that's the problem.
What you can do.
But here's the thing: you can't even use that because Roman came through NXT.
No,
he didn't know who the fuck he was
there
for a year. But
he was in FCW. But he was a different person too.
FCW technically was
NXT, yeah. So but he was a different person.
But he didn't know who the fuck he was. Randy Orton, when he was at that whole class, outside of Brock Lesnar, who didn't have to do anything because Paul Heyman was his mouthpiece. That whole class, and we talk about those are the ghosts. Randy Orton, John Cena,
Batista,
all of them had to find. Batista was the deacon. when he came.
Yo,
Deacon
all these
Batista.
All these niggas was really trash when they got here.
They
weren't trash.
they
They
just
just didn't
didn't
know
have
who
the,
the fuck
the,
they
gim- the
were.
gimmicks
were.
was trash. Like
and
it's
that's
amazing.
part of the problem. That was initially the problem with NXT. After 2.0, when 2.0 hit, when Vince would call people up, he would recreate them. When
That's
they have
'cause since Vince doesn't watch NXT.
right, and what does that say about your business though?
But I also feel like there are sections of wrestling fans. Like you have some people, like when NXT was only on the app, you have some people that only watch wrestling that comes on TV. There wasn't a lot of guys who was like, well, I watch wrestling on Monday, and then I'll go watch NXT on Wednesday, Tuesday, whenever it drops on the app, and then I'll watch SmackDown. There's a lot of people that's only watching what's on TV. So when you see Adam Cole come up to the main roster, if you're not familiar with NXT and you didn't know him from like Ring of Honor, he's a completely new person to you.
But that's the problem with
That's the carrying cross issue.
That's the problem.
But I'm saying though,
that
that's wrestling
WWE
fans too.
WWE created that problem.
But I'm
Yeah.
saying
Because
if you
like
don't
when them
watch
niggas got
NXT
stuck in Saudi and
You
they had to
needed
call
these
it, they called the NXT niggas up to do SmackDown. That was one of the best SmackDowns you ever seen. That was some matchups that were crazy. And a lot of people that saw those matchups then went and started
They're
watching
NXT.
NXT. You have to mix them up at some point, sometime to bring. One of the best things they did was that triple threat Survivor Series.
Oh, that was cracking.
Because and not only did they do it, they let Keith Lee completely clown
He
to
did
where niggas was like, actually, I think he should have.
he should have won, but they wouldn't
But
let him.
niggas like, who is dude? Let's go back and watch. Or when they let all them NXT niggas in the Rumble. Again, Keith Lee going up against Brock
You know,
Lesnar.
when Brock said that's a big
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Niggas go back and watch. You have to mix it up. You have to bring. You know what? As a matter of fact, Royal Rumble winner, a men's Royal Rumble winner should challenge for the NXT title. Make it a big thing. Make it a big brand. The NXT champion is now main eventing WrestleMania.
See, like when Charlotte did that shit, I thought that was dope.
Dope.
You
It
gave
really was dope.
like had there not been a pandemic and we really would have sold out Raymond Jackson, that's the look for Rhea.
Yeah, right.
Because you are now wrestling not only a main roster talent, but you wrestling a GOAT like this Charlotte. She done did
Right.
it all right now. And for her to reach back and give you this look, that's tight. But nah, WWE don't do shit like that.
No,
Well, that
Fuck
That's-
the title. Fuck
maybe
going
this
after
time
Roman or whatever.
right.
I want that shit you got.
Actually,
now.
as a matter of fact, Theory should have cashed in
I like Theory.
and NXT.
True, but I
Yo,
also
that
give-
would have been
but
like
I
a
also
swerve.
but I also give Theory credit for cashing in with the US title because that literally opened the door with the Money in the Bank.
For
that-
all the
but
champions.
it don't matter what belt. So I might, because like think about it. If you got a Roman who's running rampant for 3 years and I got this Money in the Bank, am I gonna waste this opportunity on a nigga who look, bro, I can't beat you, dog.
I feel
I'm
like
not
that-
stupid.
Which is exactly what he said.
Yeah.
He was like, Roman's at the top of his game. There's no touch.
I can't be him, so I'ma go for your belt.
You're right.
Just randomly do that.
I feel like that's one of those things that, like, if you're not a real wrestler fan, you're not paying attention to that. You is at home like, nigga, this is a guaranteed world title shot. Why would you waste it on the US title? But a wrestling fan is like, oh, he opening the forbidden door.
Right.
Like, no champion is fucking safe with this briefcase.
Yeah,
Nigga,
right.
you
It
go
don't
get
matter.
your homie, and all of a sudden you cash it in the
Right.
tag champ.
I still
Now-
say, but
they
I
need
did.
to
I
have
think he should have went for Braun Breaker. He should have went.
You
down
should have
to
went for
NXT,
Braun.
cashed in on Braun Breaker, and then that would have also opened another door. Like
Now your
nigga,
NXT,
NXT niggas is recognized too as being part of WWE. We'll
Yeah.
take your shit. Too.
and now you can just randomly you have an open. Because that's what I used to love about Cena and his open challenge because NXT niggas was showing up. Kevin Owens showed up with the fucking NXT belt around his waist, still trying to take your US title. Had he
Actually,
won,
But y'all give too much credit to Kevin Owens, even though that was a cracking ass match.
I've always been a KO fan since Ring of Honor.
Even though that was a cracking ass match, that was y'all gave too much credit. The real nigga was Sammy,
Sammy definitely.
because one, Bret Hart brought Sammy out.
Boo, fuck dog.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you got one.
He still has his point.
top tier niggas brought out Sammy. Sammy comes out, dislocates his shoulder at the very beginning of the match.
Dude, they had you started.
You're right, and this nigga was doing his entrance
Bluish.
And popped his shoulder out.
That was a great match, though.
And then puts on a match of a lifetime. He lost, but
Sammy's
everybody knows who Sami Zayn is.
But Sammy has always put on good matches because I went back and got bored one day and watched like the beginning of NXT, and him and Cesaro was giving us WrestleMania matches on regular TV. So Sammy's always been cold. And then I went back and watched Wrestling with Andy when they did the story about Doug and his backstory with El Generico and how he killed the gimmick by saying Dog works with El Chapo and them.
That's crazy.
No, he got this wild ass backstory why he stopped being El Generico. It's funny as hell. But Sammy's always been good to me.
Who's your favorite wrestler right now?
Sammy. Solo.
Right now, let's see. That's a very good question because I don't think I've ever thought about that. But my favorite wrestler going right now, I would probably go. I'd probably damn near go Theory.
Theory? I fucks with Theory.
I can see you. I can see that.
Total. He did. I mean, I think like Theory's got the total pack. Well, no. If my favorite wrestler right now to watch, like I would stop what I'm doing to watch would be Seth. But
no, that's my nigga.
Yeah, like Seth. Like I think I said this years ago. Seth is actually going to go down in history greater than Shawn Michaels.
I can see that.
Yeah.
No, Seth's only problem was Shawn's only problem. Shawn survived so many eras where he was never the guy. But that survived the Hogan era. He survived the Brett era. He got the title, but then Austin was on his heels as soon as he got it. Yeah. So the
injury took him out.
Shawn was at the top, but Shawn was never the guy. He might have been Vince's guy, but he was never on paper the guy.
It's always been that issue. It's always one that's the guy and then one that's for the people.
I feel like when they gave Shawn the belt, and then you had it's one of those situations where like when you had so much you could have put around Shawn to make him what he could have been. Like all your friends left, and then Brett takes vacation. He's like, you gonna get the belt. I'm gonna take time off. Nash leaves. Hall leaves. Your other friend is in the doghouse because he got to take the heat for what you niggas did. Mm-hmm. So you can't really work with him in the spot that you want to. You don't really got nobody to work with. So your title run really look like ass when you go back and look at it. He didn't really.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You work with Bulldog twice, which this is no knock on Bulldog, but it's Davey Boy. I mean, he ain't really finna pop no number on pay-per-view. You didn't get a good, decent match for you to be Shawn until you got to like Vader and see it. And that's because they're bigger than you, so you can sell more. They're gonna make you look better.
And then what did you do? You shitted on Vader. You shitted on Vader.
He took a fat shit on Vader.
And the whole thing with Sid, Shawn was so fucking spaced out and lost on drugs and shit. He had to drop the belt. Going into WrestleMania, Sid was champion, who dropped it to Taker.
Shawn Michaels' best match while he was champion might be Mind Games when he wrestled Mankind. That's the best match Shawn's got as WWE
but
champion.
Here's the thing: as far as matches go, nobody has more classics than Shawn Michaels.
That's true.
But as far as being the guy, he never was the guy. D-Generation X was big, yes, but when D-Generation X, you got a period where they were battling fucking other stables, Nation of Domination, fucking Heart Foundation, and singles. You got where he was bouncing back and forth battling Brett, and then the screw job happens, and he's got the title, but the whole time they're grooming Austin. The whole time that Shawn has this belt, they're grooming Austin. People weren't turning on WWE to see Shawn Michaels the champion.
Absolutely,
they were turning on to see what kind of hell
we want to see what Stone Cold
was going to do. So then you get to the Rumble, Austin wins. Now you got the matchup. Shawn doesn't want to do the job. I don't think Austin's ready. I don't want to drop the belt to Austin and all this other shit. And you got to get Taker to come through and say, nigga, you about to do this job at WrestleMania like the boss wants you to do.
I do want to know what 98 looks like had Shawn not got hurt. Like, we're still going to get a belt to Austin because he's the hot guy right now. But I just want to know what that shit, like what the Attitude Era really looks like with a healthy Shawn Michaels. And he's here full time. Like, he's here every fucking Monday.
Well, I'd say it like this. If Shawn hadn't been addicted to drugs and alcohol like he was, we probably would have never got to Austin. because now you're talking about a full-time Shawn Michaels that's always going to be there, never would have had to take a break. Austin might have got hot based off of what him and Brett did, and he might have been the edge to HBK Cena.
Yeah, I think Austin still gets hot. I just think shit looks a lot different because Shawn is healthy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's still
it does. Most definitely. I agree 100% with that. But when it comes down to the product of the WWE, I can't jump into the milquetoast character of the typical fan and say, well, WWE is trash right now, because it's not. That's not true.
It's actually far from trash.
Right, it's actually really good writing. It's just the fact that they keep missing moments. The matches they put together, great.
Tony, if you blow a booger on that mic and we see it, I'm alive.
It's
all nose.
Right. The WWE puts together good matches. The performer execute good matches, but I think they miss pivotal moments. We saw it with Backlash. I think we saw it with the Rumble. I think we saw it at WrestleMania, because I didn't want Cody to win, but I think Sammy should have been in that match, and Sammy should have won that match.
Triple threat?
Yeah. I think they missed it with Clash at the Castle with Drew. I think Drew should have won then.
They definitely they missed it at Clash with Sheamus.
Yeah, they missed it there too.
Been Sheamus's moment. I don't care what nobody's. That should have been Sheamus's moment.
And I think they're missing an opportunity here to bring up Gunther and have Gunther challenge. Even if Gunther loses, well, let it be a hard-hitting, classic-ass match. Who cares about it being two heels?
You know what? I think that's what I always said. Gunther is the one who should dethrone him.
Mm-hmm. But even if he don't, let Roman go through that hell. I
don't think Roman has had someone that has really just made dog feel the match afterwards. Like, you may have won today because of your trickery, because you got more numbers than I do, but you gonna remember this match. So the next time you see me as a contender, it would make Gunther be somebody Roman kind of fears a little bit under what Brock should have been. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, tonight main event is for the number one contender, Gunther versus, it'd be Sheamus versus, and it's Gunther, and then that's when Roman looks up.
And that's another nigga that they need to put, fuck Cody, they need to put Brock with Gunther. Get Gunther over. Get Gunther over. If
that shit.
Because honestly, is like I said, it's the shit you don't see.
Right.
They are grooming Gunther to be an unstoppable champion.
He definitely is getting
because of what happens. They keep putting Gunther in these matches, these impossible situations, and Gunther keeps beating and
he's outthinking them.
Not even skimming through. Gunther is winning these matches.
He's like, because that triple threat, I didn't think he was gonna make it out alive.
Gee, he
powerbomb one nigga on top of another.
He was down for about 5 to 10. I was like, yo, because at one point it was just Drew and Sheamus. I was like, where the fuck did Gunther go? And then he splashed the nigga off the top, and then he powerbombed the nigga on top of another nigga. Like, don't do me like that.
Like, don't win like that, bro.
Tell me the ring general is not the ring general.
And that's the thing. If you are the ring general, that means that you are the top of the food chain. So that really should be what has the items of relevancy like shaken.
You know what? As much as we dream these dream scenarios of who's gonna beat Roman, right now that's out of my mind. Because for one, they didn't put Gunther on. Mm-hmm. So whoever beat Roman gonna beat Roman whenever they beat him. I'm focused on this world heavyweight title. We've had no secondary champion for 900 and some odd fucking days. Now we finna get Seth and AJ, which I felt like before we even knew who the fuck was in there, I was like, that's who should be the match. It should be them two. That's gonna give you a great match, and we're gonna get Seth to have his moment. Seth gonna be world heavyweight champion.
I'm confused.
Gunther versus Seth might be some shit because Gunther's gonna touch the world heavyweight title. He may not touch Roman, but he's gonna touch this world heavyweight title.
But this is why I'm confused. If this is supposed to be an exclusive belt to Raw, why are we even giving SmackDown anybody an opportunity to be in this?
That's a very good question that I do not have an answer
and
for, and I think it's stupid.
It's WWE.
That's what I'm saying.
It's WWE, so I ain't even trying to make sense of it. I was
like you could have took the 6 and maybe threw 2 more.
I was about to say, why is the belt even sitting on SmackDown?
Right.
For Paul Heyman and Roman to look at when they walk past.
Right. I get the moment you guys want, but that's when Roman comes to Raw and says something and he sees the belt. Oh, Maybe I might add that to my shit. Maybe I don't. And leave it alone. You don't need. Why are these?
And why does Roman still have 2 fucking belts?
Because,
why haven't they condensed those belts? If those belts are, it's the undisputed title.
Same reason why we ain't
one belt.
Same reason why we ain't split the tag belts up.
Same reason why we ain't swapped the women's belt. Same reason why
Bianca is on SmackDown, but still the Raw Women's Champion. None of this shit adds
that
up.
was because they wanted her to get the longest reign. So now they either gonna drop the belts or switch it.
Yeah, they're gonna swap these fucking belts.
Well, because he was home, so you got to show up home. I feel what you're saying.
We still need to swap these belts.
I know we need to swap them or change them.
Last time I checked, Asuka was a SmackDown lady, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? We got 2 SmackDown niggas feuding over Raw
the title. Well, it's weird. Nothing makes sense.
That's fucking retarded.
Meanwhile, Cameron Grimes, who ain't been on TV since God knows when, shows up and squashes Baron Corbin and goes about his business.
He should, because we don't give a fuck about that guy.
Somebody got to be enhancement talent.
That's what Dolph.
I give Corbin credit for one thing. Corbin has survived a lot of motherfuckers that came up from NXT, and if his point and job now is to just job out for other people, he does it. He takes it on the chin. He doesn't complain. You don't hear him on fucking social media whining, and that's the shit that Vince looks at in the long run and be like, you know what? That nigga needs a title.
Corbin gonna be the new Miz. And I say that because
Miz got 2 titles.
Right. But Corbin is the nigga, he shows up to work. He probably look at whatever the board is, like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna give him my all. Or whenever they strap these shitty gimmicks on, dog, he got like I hated Happy Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
But once he got into it, it was like, all right, I like to hate this nigga because this shit's I hate it. And I hate it. It's working.
Well, that's because, let's be honest, Lone Wolf was only going to go so far. That's literally so many niggas wrestlers' default gimmick when they first show up anyway, that you have to break away from that.
Default gimmick is that, Tom? How many other niggas showed up as a Lone Wolf? Please,
you know the Lone Wolf is just a nigga who's, I'm mean, I'm bad, I'm tough. Niggas been mean, bad, and tough for wrestling since the 80s, my nigga. That's all the Lone Wolf really was.
I mean, think about it. Most of these characters fade out quickly fucking anyway.
Karrion Kross is a fucking Lone Wolf.
Now, Karrion Kross is a failure. They should have left his ass fired.
No, I think they messed up with Karrion Kross.
They messed up with his initial introduction, and then they messed up with his return.
They definitely messed up with the initial introduction because he came down and stared down Roman Reigns. And
no, we talking about the initial introduction. Like
the one when
they brought that nigga up to the main roster.
With the
NXT was cool.
Yeah, NXT.
What he was doing, that's where
that goes back to.
But that's because you had Jeff Hardy beat him for no fucking
right. He should have beat the shit out of Jeff Hardy in 30 seconds. Like that's where I feel like Vince get lost. Like when Vince was running the show, he get lost in translation because a lot of shit that works in NXT. Some shit I get is not going to translate well to the main roster, but some shit does. Like being an unstoppable force, does.
But that's not Vince's unstoppable force.
2 different styles of wrestling. NXT wrestling and main roster wrestling is 2 different styles. Because you got somebody like Ciampa, and let's say Johnny Wrestling. So you got Gargano, you got Ciampa. Them motherfuckers was having fast-paced matches for like 45 minutes. I'm talking about combos. And but on the main roster, you don't have nobody that can keep that pace because these niggas, it's so many people on the main roster. You get maybe a 10 or 15 minute spot. That's your match. You don't get those 30 and 45 minute matches on the main roster. Nobody gets them on a pay-per-view. Not even the champ. Not even Roman gets 45 minutes. So when these NXT niggas come up,
intro was 45 minutes.
When these NXT niggas come up and you tell them they only got 10 minutes, they about to go hard for 10 fucking full minutes. Well, somebody like the Miz can't do that because they don't got the win for that shit.
Right. Plus,
so they're gonna be like, "Hey, kids, slow down." Well, slow down isn't NXT's game.
Right. You got to remember the main roster is all about what the crowd recognized. That's why, as much as we used to get on Cena about his 5 moves of doom, the crowd was able to know that if he did this, we know what's coming next. We know what's coming after that. So, we know when to pop. We know we going home.
Now that you say that we need something that we can recognize, right? Karrion Kross debut on the main roster looked nothing like how what?
I get what you're going
looked
with there.
nothing like how he was presented to us in NXT.
But
exactly. That's all I'm saying.
But that goes.
No. But that's what I'm saying. Like shit don't translate. How you saying that we know nothing was recognizable. For one, he showed up without Scarlett.
Mm-hmm.
He showed up dressed like a member of Demolition.
Mm-hmm.
This is not what I saw on TV.
But that's what I said. It
So
goes back to the fact that because Vince doesn't know what NXT is, Vince creates what he wants you to be. That's why, because you got to remember, prime example, Tyler Breeze is a prime example. Tyler Breeze was at NXT working his ass off. He was one of the last ones that got called up in the first batch. Vince never wanted to call him up because Vince didn't know who he was to know what to do with him. So when he got called up, he got thrown with Johnny Curtis, and they just was a sideshow.
But that worked.
It worked because them two niggas knew how to make it.
With Johnny Curtis, he got thrown with Fandango when him being Tyler Breeze just wasn't working.
No,
so when you don't work when you don't work as a single, the next step before you get fired is either you get repackaged or you get stuck in a tag.
Prince Pretty worked
in NXT. Prince Pretty didn't translate to the main roster. Want to know why he didn't translate? Is because the owner of the fucking company doesn't watch what he put his son-in-law in charge of.
That's what I was saying, Juan. I'm agreeing with you.
Didn't sound like you agree. Don't sound like you're not agreeing.
As a matter of fact, how many times have you ever even seen Vince McMahon show up at an NXT?
He never.
I didn't want him to be there
because he didn't care about NXT.
He didn't even come down there when he rebranded 2.0.
But the Black and Gold brand was actually better for the longest time.
It was
than anything that the main roster was.
Which is why I'm disappointed that you didn't pay attention, because if you're a person who cares about ratings, because that's how you get paid, you should pay attention to this little side project that you gave your son to play with. Why is it doing good numbers?
I can tell you, for at least 5 years straight, TakeOver was better than WrestleMania.
Way better.
Both nights.
I feel like Vince gave Triple H NXT because, for one, he didn't know what to do with it,
and he thought
and he didn't know what to do with Triple H. He's like, well, you go develop the talent. Because that shit ain't gonna work anyway. I'm gonna end up firing all these.
Here's
niggas.
The problem: all the Triple H guys
are fucking amazing.
Is the business now,
right?
Which is why this wrestling now for the main roster works.
You're champions.
The only guy that's not a Triple H guy, which he might be, but is to me is a Vince guy. That's Roman.
That's a Triple H guy.
That's still a Triple H guy.
He came through NXT.
He was working,
and to get to NXT, that means who had to get him from FCW.
Yeah,
Triple H.
You got to remember who worked with the Shield when they first hit the scene.
I have to go back and watch
to put them over.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was Triple H.
NXT was given to Triple H. Triple H developed it, turned it into this baby. You look at Bianca Belair, you look at Bayley, you look at
Rhea.
As a matter of fact, Roman said it in his promo when he was talking about who Dusty might have mentioned Cody to. And he ran down the names. Well, he might have talked to Seth about you, might talk to Bayley. You know, well, when I was with him, he ain't never talk about you. Well, guess what? Dusty was working for Triple H. Them was all Triple H people.
Yep.
That he brought up and he groomed and everything. So you look at the roster now, them motherfuckers pay more homage to Triple H than they do Vince. And I don't think Vince likes that at all. Because all Vince people are old and
his people are his mentality is gone.
Brock is the only Vince guy,
which is the reason why
count Roman, Brock is the last Vince guy.
Yeah. As far as the top tier on the top level, Brock and Lashley, the only two Vince guys that are really at the top and whatever.
Which, in retrospect, JR signed both of them. But
yeah, but they came up under Vince.
They under the Vince regime.
Yeah. And Brock is really, truthfully, and we got to leave Lashley out. Brock is truly the only Vince guy.
Yeah,
that's really Vince's boy. That's Vince's boy. So the only really person that got Vince this, Vince that, because remember, Brock was gonna quit when Vince, stepped down, and Vince had to call Brock and beg him to come back.
Hey, I'd have been okay if Brock would have been like, "I'm going home."
Yeah,
for good.
But I'm just to make this point though, he's the only Vince guy. So now everybody else, honestly, Vince is running a company where everybody pays more homage to the COO than they do to the CEO.
Well, he fucking is a terrible person.
Well, no, but he didn't give them all a chance.
Right. I mean,
he might have called them up, but he didn't give him a chance to showcase their talents and be on. You know how many pep talks Triple H, and it's you can look it up on YouTube, gave these motherfuckers when they were down in developmental struggling, I should say.
I can believe it. I want Triple H to go back to doing the picture. I mean, I know he probably can't do it now. But remember when niggas would win a belt in NXT and everybody got a picture with Triple H? That was your stamp. You was a star. You got your picture with Triple H.
I mean, Triple H at this point in time in his life got to look back and be like, dog, I made all these motherfuckers that's out there right now. Everybody.
Okay, so just looking at the original
his vision
black and gold
his
roster,
vision of wrestling is amazing.
Not even counting the women. I think these are all the dudes. You had Aiden English, did pretty good. Rusev, Corbin, Big E, Bo Dallas, Bray Wyatt, Saxton, who eventually became a commentator instead.
I'm surprised he still got a job.
Colin Cassidy, he's over in AEW.
He's fired.
He's over in AEW right now.
He's terrible.
You had Dean Ambrose, Eric Rowan. You had Jason Jordan, which he potentially could be good.
Jordan?
Yeah, he could. He had potential.
Yeah, but we all know who the real star of the tag team is.
Oh, earn that paycheck, Gable.
The real star is the nigga who works.
Earn that paycheck. That nigga be earning that paycheck. Leo Kruger.
I feel like that story would have been
Luke
way
Harper,
more compelling had
Tyler Breeze, Mojo Rollins.
See, this is when it comes like Vince just don't be knowing talent.
Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins.
Like, why was
Xavier Woods?
Why was fucking Chad Gable not Kurt Angle's illegitimate son? Why did it have to be the black dude? Now we just like, oh, so
because
Kurt out here
you know
black
what?
Chicks?
Because he was in real life. First of all,
I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that was wrong.
I don't know if you was watching TNA. There was at one point in time where Kurt was in trouble.
Didn't he beat a Rocket Khan?
That's who he was fucking with.
A point. Didn't he?
That's
beat
where
her
the
up?
joke. That's where the joke started from. That's how it transitioned to Jason Jordan.
Kurt Angle's such a great guy.
She was suing everybody though.
So, does anybody want to pull up the Night of Champions card before we get out of here?
Is it really even?
It ain't even occurred yet.
I mean, well, we know like the first. I mean, the show is in 2 weeks. I mean, what else are they really gonna put on this card?
It's Saudi Arabia, bro. It can be a lot of shit that pop up.
All right, so here's a question then. Do you think that there are any potential dream matches like left? Or do you feel like there's nobody outside of the WWE that's a bigger star?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, you have to be outside of WWE wrestling fan to know who's worth being a dream match. Because you got niggas in New Japan that's never been over here that got crazy statuses that could create dream matches. But just like in AEW, if you don't know who these dudes are, you don't know the importance of this match.
That's why like a personal thing. Like,
yeah.
So you know anybody
like,
that doesn't work for the E.
I'm just now starting to get in the
dream matches.
New Japan.
Like I said, Brock and Walter.
That's definitely
right. Like it could be a dream.
Walter and Roman.
That's another one. Both of those are gonna happen eventually.
I like how you refuse to call him Gunther. Even in the group,
because if you've seen Walter in NXT UK, you'll refuse to.
Walter was going ape shit.
Crazy. Let's go back and watch that Dijak match.
Let me think.
Go back and watch.
I feel like at some point in time they should have gave us Rock and Randy. I feel like that should have happened.
And he went Hollywood too soon.
Even that, like he was coming back to Russell fucking
that
Cena.
cat on his way to being a billionaire now. I don't.
He ain't never coming
No,
back.
Rock ain't. You not getting that nigga to touch.
No, if you didn't get him for this year when it was supposed to be him and Roman, he ain't coming back.
But
they're gonna still tease the whole WrestleMania 40 thing.
I don't really want to see him wrestle Roman.
I could care less. I was fine with it when it was a Hollywood thing, and I thought,
last year was the minute it should. If you were gonna do it should have been last year.
But when you think about it, like if you look at their family tree, not that one that Chuck posted because that shit was all screwed up. But
that's the one everybody keep bringing up.
They true family tree. Rock is a very, very, very distant cousin to them.
Yeah, he's no closer to them than Tamina is.
Yeah,
like them motherfuckers is so separate. They're cousins because they're all Samoan.
It's funny. Majority of the Samoans are cousins. They're cousins.
I feel like
that's
Rock,
what it is. They're cousins.
I feel like Rock is that cousin that you might not know your cousin until like a Facebook post pop up and your real cousin is kicking it with him. And cuz post a picture like me and cuz his family. You be like, I'm related to folks? Oh what? Shout out. And then it just be that.
Hey, the Samoans family is this nigga.
I could believe it because you got a lot of cousins. I'll be like,
Very,
yo.
very
This
big
is
family.
this nigga. I'm this nigga cousin. That's how deep it is.
Yo, the fact that you say that, and then when Mimi and Tommy had that revelation, I was like, damn, does that mean I'm dog cousin? That's crazy. If I don't like that.
See,
I don't like that.
shit be running too deep, but that's what and it's all because they own one island, so they all bound to be related in one shape or form. That's really what it is.
So the whole thing to say, oh yeah, Rock got to face his cousin Roman. That's technically true, but them motherfuckers so far like you would have thought that would have been brought up when the Shield interrupted CM Punk match to powerbomb Rock through that table.
No, they didn't say
They
that.
didn't say nothing because it's not relevant. The motherfuckers don't know each other like that.
It's the same thing as that nigga was a nigga until he got the champion, then he was Samoan.
I was just gonna say that because I've also noticed like a lot of shit they don't bring up because it ain't storyline purpose. Like Rock was a nigga until he became the WWE champion.
Then
when he became a WWE champion,
it was all the tribal
it was third generation this and High Chief Peter Mott. They stopped giving a fuck about Rocky Johnson.
Like you swore up and down. Rocky Johnson just got caught with like a pound of drugs on him, and we trying to disassociate you.
They was treating Rocky Johnson like Chris Benoit.
Oh, he's because he was Rocky Maivia when he came in. He was never Rocky Johnson's son. He was the grandson of Rocky
Peter Maivia.
Yeah, so
well, we can't sell no Rocky Johnson merch, but we can sure market these fucking Samoan niggas.
Yeah, he was the only Samoan nigga that came out that wasn't wild and crazy. Because up until recently, literally,
he was the first.
Yeah, he's the first one that wasn't wild and crazy.
Peter Maivia, he was he was the first. Period. The crazy ones came in the next generation.
That's true. That's right.
Because High Chief Peter Maivia was sitting up by itself.
Right.
Yeah. And then the next generation was the Wild Samoans and the Tonga Kid and all that shit. That's when they came through. And then we're on the generation now of your Tamina's, Usos.
Do they claim Jimmy Snuka? Or is he like The Rock? He's just like a distant cousin. He's somewhere on this tree, but he's not with us.
That's why Tamina is in the conversation, but she's not in the conversation. Same thing with
I think we're at a point now
Nia Jax.
We don't need The Rock to save these niggas' jobs like Roman got.
Oh no, Roman.
They consider the Usos consider Roman their uncle.
Yeah,
because in their culture, there are no second cousins because Rock isn't their first cousin. Remember, Rock is Rikishi's cousin.
Right.
So they don't do second cousins in Samoa. So they call him uncle, even though he's the same age as these niggas. They was like Uncle Joe this, Uncle Joe that. It's just because in American culture,
they're the same age. Yeah, so Roman 38. Roman 38.
Roman's a little bit older than them.
Yeah, very little though. Yeah.
Because like I watched the TikTok and it was like the
Roman just looks a lot older. One because he's bigger, and two because Roman grays more. Because like on SmackDown, the nigga dyed his beard.
I didn't pay attention to that.
Look at it. Go back and look. Roman beard is jet black. But if you go back to WrestleMania, that nigga got grays all over the place, which don't make sense to me. Why would you not dye it for WrestleMania, but dye it for SmackDown? Unless it was way a lot more grays when he was off.
He let Cody know this that old school ass whooping you finna get.
He probably didn't have time to get.
I'm gonna beat you like your daddy should have beat you.
Do you know that this nigga gets his haircut before he comes out every fucking time?
Roman?
Yeah, and it takes an hour for them to line his beard up to get it perfectly and all this other shit.
He not wrong. Man, if I was him, he was like, "All you niggas." Like, see, when I watch
they be pausing his segment until his beard is done, and then he come.
When I watch these these clips on TikTok,
that's why they'll never show that nigga on TV when they need to talk to him.
Is it real or is he shooting? Like, is this like in characters? Is a shoot? Because he be talking some shit, but it be valid. Like, he was like, all these niggas back here wish they had my deal. He said,
that's the truth.
Nah. When he said that, I'm like, yeah, because if you told me that I could get the same amount of money and work half the fucking schedule, I'll take that in a heartbeat.
But see, that's another problem I got with WWE. You create a problem, and then you act like it's a problem. It's not a problem if you created it.
Yep.
It's your creation. You gave Roman this deal. You gave Roman these belts, and now you want to complain about it like we need a champion that's on TV. Well, if you need a champion that's on TV, why did you give your champion this deal? Or why did you give this deal to your champion?
I also feel like with them angling wrestling to be looked at more of like a sport, a lot of shit that we used to didn't know, we know now. And I feel like it taints, for some people, the image of what wrestling really is. Because now we look at wrestling, some people, I would say, look at it like how they would look at a basketball player. You look at a football player. So Roman is Kawhi Leonard because he's always fucking load managing. Because Kawhi Leonard don't play all 82 games. Roman is not working all these fucking dates. But back then, like when Hogan didn't do it, we didn't know the situation. We didn't know the status of Hogan's contract. We didn't know if Hogan you only got 6 dates this month. So you're only going to work 6 times this month. And then next month, you may not work at all. But because we don't do as much TV and it's just predicated on house shows type shit, we don't know Hogan's not here all the fucking time. And everything is fucking taped.
That's true.
So Hogan might have taped 6 fucking segments in a row, but then they spread them shits out over 6 fucking 6 weeks. So now
Hogan did do house shows. So the belt was only defended on pay-per-views as we saw.
Right.
But it could have been defended 4 times a week.
Right, because he did do house shows.
Because he did house shows.
And I feel like that was the original Roman's deal. Like Roman really wanted less house show days. But then they turned that shit into a storyline. So when you turn what is personal into a storyline, now he's really not on fucking TV.
Which is crazy because now Brock is working his ass off. And Roman's the one that's not.
Brockton did every pay-per-view this year.
This is why you shouldn't speak on shit you don't understand about. Because Roman cut a whole promo on Brock being a part-timer and a bitch, and because he does never there and he's never doing anything. And what happened, he turned around and bit him in the ass.
I do feel like,
but ain't that the same conversation Rock and Cena had?
Exactly. So Cena didn't understand
all these promos that people cut, and then when you get to this level, it kind of make you look like a hypocrite. Because Cena, at the point when Cena was calling out Rock, yeah, you were there every week. But now you in the catbird seat, you're in Rock's spot. So now you only show up when they need you.
Because he stated, he was like, I didn't understand. I was young, I was ignorant, I didn't know what I was doing. He even apologized for the promo when he was calling Rock out for writing his shit on his. He's like, do you know how much this man go through in a day? How much he's got to remember? How much he's got to do? He's like, of course he's not going to remember a promo. And then I called him out for not having it.
Don't bitch out though. Like I get it that you understand.
Yeah.
But living your shit that you stand on that. You call folks out for having his notes on his wrist, and I was like, yo, he had them notes on his wrist. Fuck that nigga.
Because nobody else noticed it till he pointed it out.
Right.
And then you're like, damn, Rock done lost it. But you got to think about it. This nigga done had business meetings. This nigga done had scripts and shit.
What did he do before he got
like literally, he's doing all of this as a fucking favor to Vince because he feels like Vince gave him the opportunity to be who he is. So he's showing up and wrestling you as a favor to this motherfucker. Of course, he ain't gonna have his shit written down. Let me write some key notes down here. I can get his promo and I can get back to whatever else I got to do. Get a fan something to ooh and ah at.
You know what I didn't know? That I saw it in I watch a lot of fucking TikTok, but most of my TikTok is either ass shaking or it's wrestling related.
You need to grow the fuck up.
I will never grow up, sir. But I didn't know that Vince get like a percentage of everything John does. I did not know that
because he missed the boat with Rock. Now with Rock, there had never been a true mainstream movie star. Yes, Roddy Piper and Hogan had movies and stuff,
but I heard that's why
they
Rock
were never really
truly
movie stars. Rock asked, "Look, I want to go do movies." He's like, "I've seen this before. You guys want to go? Go do your movies." And then Rock turns into a box office smash, something like the WWE's never seen before. See, when Batista did it, Batista was down there out his contract,
right?
So there was nothing for the Vince to do.
Right, Rock was a movie star on company time.
Yeah. Vince was like, go do your movies or whatever. Then Rock turns into this box office. But by time, because Rock even asked for his name.
Right.
Yeah, that's why people still call him The Rock. he couldn't use that name if Vince hadn't gave it to him, but Vince gave him all his permission because of all the other failed wrestlers that went out there and tried to make movies.
That shit was.
Yeah, you guys were gonna make a couple $100,000.
Hell, the WWE studio alone is like, okay, this is not gonna work.
That's crazy that he like.
Look at the list of
the WWE movies.
Look at the list of people that that went left and went to movies. Yeah, the Nathan Jones. Okay, Nathan Jones is one of the.
I gotta remember.
He's been in he's got like 40 movies that he's done appearances in and been the big strong guy. Somebody's got to take off. He was even in Troy, opposite of Brad Pitt.
Right, I gotta remember.
But he's never been a movie star. The Rock did something nobody had. So once Vince seen, I could have been getting a cut out of all it because The Rock is the highest grossing actor.
So is this why he stopped? Because like when you go back, you watch old Rock movies. When you watch the credits, it used to say Dwayne The Rock Johnson, but now all that shit just say Dwayne Johnson. Maybe Vince was getting a cut off his name, so he stopped using that name.
No, Vince gave him his name. Vince gave him the rights to use his name. Rock talks about it. He went and had a conversation with Vince, and Vince
he stopped using The Rock because he wants to be recognized as a wrestler, and not as a wrestler anymore, but as an individual, as an actor. He doesn't want to be known as the wrestler no more. He wants to be known as the actor.
Oh, he still make bad movies, but I fuck with
him. He's the same character in every movie. That's all it is.
Because I watched Black Adam, I was like, if you throw just like Rudy Poo candy ass somewhere in here, you're just The Rock in
same person
in tights.
So I mean, like The Rock set the precedent, and then Vince saw all the money he missed off of. Because if he could have got a percentage out of like I said, The Rock is getting ready to be a billionaire.
I don't see how Hogan failed.
Terramana Tequila.
Did you see some of the movies Hogan did?
At the time when Hogan was making movies, like
Hogan, those
movies were hot for the time.
No.
But they never broke box office.
They were
records.
not.
Rock has been in. Let's do.
Here's the mistake you're making.
I only say I don't get why Hulk Hogan wasn't as big in movies. I'm like, Hulk Hogan was bigger than Jesus at one point in time as far as being a wrestler.
But that's where you're making the mistake.
Right. He only looked at that part. He never looked at them Commando and
he couldn't get the wrestling fans to come watch his movies.
No, that's all he was getting was the wrestling.
He couldn't get the casual fans.
He couldn't get the regular. He got to look at the quality movies.
Let's run down the Rock movies. So you start off with Scorpion King, then Scorpion King 2, and then what was it? The one where he was with Cedric the Entertainer and all them, and John Travolta.
Get Shorty.
Get Shorty. You got those movies, man, okay, they're fine. But then you start getting into your Fast and the Furious, G.I. Joe type money, Hobbs and Shaw type money, where these motherfuckers never even watched wrestling before, but he's in franchise movies. Black Adam. This nigga did a cameo in fucking Why Did I Get Married Too?
Or still waiting on that third movie.
This nigga is left wrestling altogether and became movie stardom. And then Vince looks back and like, damn, I could have been getting a piece of that the whole time, but I didn't know he was gonna turn into that. So now when the next niggas come around like John Cena, like, yeah, I'm gonna start doing movies. Well, here. But just so you know, in your contract, it states that your likeness is owned by me. So if you want to do the movies, that's fine, but I'm gonna need 4% off of all the movies you do and all of it.
And John is like, sure, because you taking 4% of nothing is not gonna bother me.
Yeah, that's crazy that you making that much money that a nigga who is constantly in your pocket don't even bother you. That's crazy.
Because think about it, it's better than not getting anything at all.
But just to know that I'm making like how much I don't even know the cut Vince get. Look, but nigga, to make that much money that him getting a cut don't bother you,
nigga. If you pay taxes, you don't care because they take a cut of your money all the time.
What are the chances that we'll ever get a Rock and Cena like a buddy cop movie?
I don't want it.
We could have got Rock and Cena. One thing is whether you love the Rock or you hate the Rock, you have to recognize this. Rock is a cancer to fucking movie franchises. That's why Rock doesn't do a lot of sequels. The only sequels he's done is really Fast and the Furious, and now there's Hobbs and Shaw. But that was already rolling before he got there.
Like that don't count.
And he didn't even come back. Wait, how many Fast and Furious movies did he do? Did he 1 or 2?
He did 2.
So he did 2, and then they replaced him with John. And I think John.
But he said he claims he left because, and the funny thing, everybody said Tyrese was mental and crazy and stuff when he went at The Rock and said The Rock ain't doing nothing but tearing this shit up, gonna tear this shit up?
Hogan ain't really been in as many movies as you thought.
I mean, Mr. Nanny.
He had a cameo in Rocky 3. He did No Holds Barred, which you might as well call that a WWE studio
that is
movie.
My favorite bad movie. Of all
Suburban
time.
Commando, Mr. Nanny.
I fuck with Mr. Nanny.
3 Thunder in Paradise spinoffs.
That was a bad show.
Actually, I fuck with that show. I love that book.
He popped up.
I love that book.
Look, if you grew up during the Magma PI area, you would love Thunder in
But
Paradise.
see, you got to remember before that, Hogan did a couple cameos on the 18.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's literally all it was.
So,
Secret Agent Club, Santa with Muscles. He did what we now consider Tubi movies. No,
yeah.
Amazon Prime. He did Amazon Prime movies, bro.
When he popped up in the Three Ninjas.
Yeah, I was gonna say Three Ninjas, High Noon.
Gremlins. He was in Gremlins.
Was
he? Yep, in Gremlins too.
Yo, Undertaker makes a cameo in one of the movies. That's Suburban Commando. He makes Undertaker's in one of the movies.
He was in that.
He's in one of the movies. I went back. I watched it. I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Thing is,
Goldie and the Bear.
When Rock did what he did, nobody saw that shit coming.
Saw it on Death Mountain. Dog really was out here doing Tubi movies.
I mean, a lot of shit that like happens. A lot of people can't really call it.
Dog, nothing he ever did got
like. I would have never known that. Like, yo, they was really finna give my nigga the boot before he started rapping on TV. Like John Cena was he was about this close to being up.
He was playing. He was literally. We say this all the time. When he came out, he's the default call character.
He dressed like one too.
But that's why he was able to tell Theory what he told him. He was like, dog, it's like you me.
Yeah, because literally,
look at how Theory wrestled. He dressed like John too from back in the day.
Yeah, but he also looked. He
better not start wearing jorts though.
He looks up to John Cena, so I'm not surprised that the look does not emulate.
But I was glad John put him over.
How long before Theory is headlining WrestleMania?
3 years.
Because we know he ain't finna do it like the next 2.
3 years. Now they have a new belt. 3 years.
No, I don't mean just a world champion in the match on the card. Headline. I mean headline. I mean Theory is on the marquee. He's the reason why we are coming to see this. He is the last.
Damn, you know what? The funny thing is, since Roman has been on top, the women ain't closed WrestleMania.
They closed night 1.
They always close night. They give them night 1.
No, they didn't close. Not this year, but when Sasha wrestled Bianca, they closed night 1.
But that story was huge, though. But
I mean, since Roman been on top, the women have not closed the WrestleMania.
Too big.
That's fucked up, though.
Hey, Roman was talking this shit on Friday, though. He said, hey, you say what you want, but nigga, we closed both nights of this shit.
You'll never see that again. And he right.
I wanted Roman to close both nights. I was like, you should defend one title on Saturday or one title on Sunday.
One to Sammy and the other one to Cody.
Who's the champion or the challengers? But that's
Cody goes night 2, Sammy goes night 1.
No, I think you'd have to be Cody night 1 because if you're gonna let Sammy win, Sammy got to win on Sunday.
Yeah, he do.
Only reason why only reason why you put Cody on night 2 because he's the Rumble winner.
That don't mean shit.
All right, he's still ahead.
Sheamus won the Rumble and he fucking
but you got
and it was only 18 seconds.
Right,
true, but you also got
and he was the winner.
That proves to you the Rumble don't mean a goddamn thing.
And Vince
Ray won the Rumble and he was dead smack in the middle of the show. In a triple threat with your triple threat with Orton and Angle.
And Vince maybe wanted to have.
I don't even know why you hold on to that Rumble winner should close the show because that don't make sense.
Some things I'm just old school. By
traditional standards, you are right.
But I gotta remember it's not tradition anymore. WrestleMania is not even one night no more.
I feel like tradition can be broken. Like
it needs to change.
I feel like the main event should be whatever the most intriguing storyline
it is. But it is.
I'm just saying any pay-per-view, the storyline should close the show. Whatever is the best storyline should close the show.
Let's be honest.
You shouldn't get a main event just because of your
No. But let's go back to Backlash. Prior to before going into that match, was Bad Bunny versus Priest the most intriguing story in the storyline at the time?
Yes.
Over the fact that Brock literally just destroyed Cody for no reason?
Yes.
Okay.
Because Bad Bunny,
I didn't see the build up to that other than the fact of when
Bad Bunny and Priest technically started when Bad Bunny cost Damo the shit at WrestleMania.
You right. You're right. I forgot about that moment. Oh, and before, because we pivoted, that's my favorite wrestler right now. Damo.
I'll give you that one because Damo is shocking me.
Shit. Character, great.
No, it doesn't matter in the WWE. You don't have to be the best wrestler.
Yeah, you just asked who was the favorite.
That's my favorite. I told you back when y'all was shitting on him. I put him in the ring. It's like, okay, we're gonna make you good on the game.
Because
and
Damo
I literally
has more heat than anybody in the WWE right now.
I still don't
and you know what I love about it? Because all he is being a defiant kid.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's a badass teenager.
He's a defiant
and
kid.
Because people can relate to that, they
hate him. And that was probably the most simplistic way to get him over.
And
so simplistic.
I'm gonna say this and get ready to roll out.
We about to roll out.
But Damo literally shocked the hell out of me because when he joined Judgment Day, I didn't see it. When they put him with Rhea Ripley, I didn't see it. But
you don't like mommy?
No, we saying he didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
Because they was whooping his ass.
So they whooped him into submission. He joins the Judgment Day. He starts going at his dad and turned on edge and all. I didn't see it. But when he picked that mic up on Raw and they would not let him talk.
They would not let him talk.
At all. That is the kind of heat that makes legends.
The only other person I've seen ever have heat like that was Eva Marie.
Roman.
Vicky Guerrero.
After he beat Taker.
Oh, yeah, and Vicky. Yeah, you're right.
Roman after he beat Taker.
To me, I didn't understand that because at that point in time, Taker had already took an L.
But the crowd determines all that. They wouldn't let Roman talk. All he could say is my yard now. And that was the whole promo. But Roman stayed in that ring for 5 minutes. And every time he tried to open his mouth, they booed the fuck out of him. And that's when the WWE should have turned his ass then. I don't know why they waited 2 years to do it.
It was just at one point, like we saw what you were doing.
Right.
So I don't give a fuck what position you put this nigga in. Boo. When Roman came out there and was like, I gotta get his belt up. Why you gotta get a belt up? I got cancer. You're not gonna boo a nigga coming back from cancer.
Right. And I think that's what it was. We literally
I don't know if I wrote this in the group, but like I felt like had we not been in a pandemic, even if Roman Reigns was off TV, if we was in a building with people when he came out and did what he did at SummerSlam, crowd would have went crazy. You can't boo this man. We ain't seen him in 6 months. That'd have been an instant.
You don't boo a nigga that beat leukemia.
I do think
you don't boo a nigga who beat cancer.
I do, as far as Roman Reigns, like the way the chips feel though.
I love it.
When he came back and nobody knew, everybody was confused because he just beat Braun Strowman down and fucking Bray Wyatt down with a chair, and nobody knew why or what he was doing. And then on SmackDown, he basically shows you, I'm with Heyman now.
But I feel like
now, like, dog, this nigga's a heel, and then he gets around it. I mean, turns around and he comes after the Universal title. He don't come out at the beginning of the match. He comes out towards the end of the match. He
signed the contract at the end of the. What kind of badass heel shit is that? I ain't never seen that.
That's that new age heel shit.
I ain't never seen no nigga sign his contract in the middle. These niggas.
He says, "I need a group around me. I'm gonna start whooping on my little cousin."
Dog bullied his cousins into being down with them.
Cause Jimmy came through and was like, man, you've been abusing Jay, man. I can't have that stuff like that.
Yo,
like,
the tension that I felt when he mushed, I'm like, yo, Jimmy gonna swing. Cause Jimmy ain't really been down with this shit since day one.
But the thing is, main event Jay, I think, got a plan.
You think so?
I think that I really believe what y'all saying. I think the Usos is gonna cost them belts.
I want to low key
just
to see where the story gonna go. I want them to win.
I do too.
I want them to win
because if they win, then that sets up at the SummerSlam. Then you can get the Usos versus Solo and Roman.
That's a nasty main event. Now I'm here for it, but
you get Roman wrestling, but Roman doesn't have to put those titles up, which means you can extend that title reign just.
I feel bad for niggas on SmackDown.
That's all it's about, though. Like, if you can put Roman in an interesting situation to get us, like how we wrote it in the group, I got to see what's going to happen next.
That's all
if you can get him in interesting situations to make you want to see what's going to happen next, that they're going to keep extending this time.
Like I said, this is not a Champions card looking great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm like, Roman, I'll be like, okay, Roman going to wrestle in Saudi. who he gonna wrestle? Then he was like, oh, we wrestling a tag match. I'm like, okay, we'll see. That's how we extend this shit another couple 100 days because now he ain't got no solo match.
Now we got to sit here and see what the
Then,
Usos going to do.
I don't think he's gonna wrestle in London. I don't think he's wrestling Money in the Bank. I think the Money in the Bank is either we're gonna focus on this world title because it's new.
A year international shows. My God,
yeah, because they realized that they need to start getting outside money.
That was another reason why I felt
so they
like
trying
on vacation.
Yeah,
because we finna do all these international shows. So he might do Saudi because that's Saudi, but London probably not. We're gonna get Seth and whoever he main event with, and whoever we're gonna
wait till them niggas do a show in Japan and watch that shit.
But I think that's why the new belt is dropping at a perfect time because we don't have to send Roman overseas.
It's a consolation prize.
It's a consolation prize as we see it, but
if they'd have gave it to Cody, I'd have definitely been like big consolation prize. He ain't gonna beat the tribal chief. He can't fuck
it
around.
to Seth though. He's long overdue for it. But Seth,
if he give it to Seth, then that means all roads lead to Roman because Seth has been vocal and stating that. Look, I'm just as good as this nigga is. Yeah, they just put all the money in the Roman.
What are we really saving that for? Because I feel like that is
I would prefer that WrestleMania 40.
That's a WrestleMania main event that they really got in the back pocket that they just said.
If he dethrones Roman,
I'm okay with
sense
that
because Seth can carry the company. He's done it before.
If anybody, and he deserves it.
Lashley, if you give him MVP, that should last a month at top. Because people are gonna be like, it's just they'll be excited to see Roman get pinned, but it'd be like when Kofi won it for me. Kofi title reign was over the moment he pinned Daniel Bryan 1, 2, 3. Because I was happy to see Kofi win it. But after that,
I ain't gonna lie to you.
Everything was downhill after that.
Right, you knew he was gonna lose. Yeah. And when you found out it was Brock, we knew.
Don't kill me. But Kofi had a Shawn Michaels title run.
He got what?
He had a Shawn Michaels title run. Like the moment was great, and we love the moment. Like Shawn Michaels, boyhood dream. We were there for the moment. But then when you get into like, oh, you really got to do this shit, and you don't have no people to work with, because Kofi's first 2 title matches out the gate was Dolph Ziggler. Ew.
Then you turn around and get it with Randy Orton, but y'all didn't build the story up right.
Now that story they should have built so much better.
They were banking on that shit from 10 years ago when he kicked Kofi in the head and kept him down. But nah, we're not here for that.
But they didn't really let him dig into it.
They did.
Tell the truth about how you really felt about that Kofi.
Right.
You bitch ass nigga for this that the other. And then Randy just say you couldn't sell. You couldn't sell. Then you can't say really build a story up. Let these niggas go. Like why do you let Cena be the king of promos? All Cena does is tell the truth. Every single time Cena goes out, he tells the absolute unabated truth. You ain't good. You fuck up at this. You fuck up at that. The closest person that really got with Cena was CM Punk. He's like, Cena, stop jacking. You're not the underdog. You the New York Knicks. How many title reigns you got, my nigga? You ain't the underdog. I am. Why is you out here lobbying like you did?
I feel like
tell the truth in your promo.
CM Punk got him, and then when the loop came around and he had Roman again, oh no, Roman wasn't playing with him this time. Like, you missionary, my dog. You got one move. It's the same shit every night.
I still think, though, he ate Roman alive, and Roman still couldn't come back from that when he told him, like, dog, you lucky I do this part-time, because I do it better part-time you could ever do it full-time.
Yo, when he was...
That lit a fire under Roman. And now, looking back, nobody want to see Cena. Everybody want to see Roman. Roman's a draw. Like, hey, would you say you do it better than part-time? Nigga, you ain't never sell what I've sold.
I will say that, like you said, John tells the truth when he does his promos. He said, the only reason I'm here is because you can't do your fucking job. If you do your job, they'll quit ringing my phone.
Dog,
Roman was like, hold my beer. They never got to call your ass again.
When he said that, dog, we damn near forgot that Cena ain't wrestled all year.
No, he was like,
oh, you talking about the tag match.
I'm just saying in general.
Oh,
like we really forgot about Cena.
In 2018, when he was like, they keep calling me because you can't do your job.
Roman ain't never looked back.
Roman said, hold my beer. 7 straight WrestleManias, I'm your guy. We don't never got to call Big Match John again because this big dog Roman. His tribal chief, throw your ones up.
Dog, that might be a record. That might be another record.
That Roman
main events? Yeah, that Roman the main event is 7 WrestleManias.
It could be. It'll show up in next year's promo.
Straight, 7 straight, or yeah.
He's been in 9.
Hogan
and
had
he's
a break
main
in
event in
between
7.
his. So yeah,
he got to break Hogan right now. Well, yeah.
But Hogan ain't never did 7 straight.
Hogan ain't what?
Hogan got the first
Romans ain't even 7 straight.
Hogan got the first 8 WrestleManias.
No,
because
WrestleMania
he 4 he didn't main event.
Oh yeah,
the tournament.
He didn't close the show.
Yeah, he didn't even make it past the first match.
Because him and
Andre eliminated each other.
Got double DQ.
He was in the main event.
It's all right. Before we go, it's Seth Rollins. This generation's Macho Man. I saw it on TikTok.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
he just got stuck in a bad spot. It's Roman's time, and
but what I do love about Seth is Seth is like, you know what?
He's still inventing himself.
I'm gonna be number 2, but I'm gonna be the best number 2 you got in this motherfucker.
But I think Seth is very smart.
But he knows
he's gonna find a way to get from under Roman, and I don't know if he'll ever get Roman's spot, but he's gonna get damn close.
I don't know. Just want them now. The crowd.
I just want them to give. Seth, I just want them to give my man a proper WrestleMania.
But like everybody keeps saying, every generation or every time we see the GOAT go, there'll never be another guy. There was never supposed to be another guy with Roman or whatever. They said at the Cena they weren't doing the guy thing anymore. They'll never be the guy. And then we get Roman because I think that's the nature of the business. Yeah, there has to be the guy.
There's a corporate person, and then there's the people's person.
Mm-hmm. So
Hogan was corporate.
Somebody will be the guy after Roman. Takes his decline. Will Roman always be, able to come back and get a spot in main event and shit like that? Fine, yeah.
Keep going, yeah.
But
just looking at how wrestling is now. It's a lot of the main event scene finna change drastically in 5-6 years. Because I don't think Roman finna really be here for another 5-6 years.
I don't either.
He probably got another 3.
When Roman loses this match, he's taking a minimum of a year off.
Mm-hmm.
Minimum of a year.
Mm-hmm. You gotta start looking at these low card niggas because that's theory. That's why I asked how long before, because that's gonna be the guy. I feel like the next guy. It might be Austin Theory. Now, I don't know.
I do think Rock should have his retirement match, and I don't think it should have been John Cena, though, that lost to John Cena. As a matter of fact, it would have been good if that was John Cena and that was his retirement match, but then he should have let everybody know that was his retirement match.
Yeah, we needed
you give Rock for a retirement match?
Roman.
Does he beat
the only other person I would have gave him would have been Triple H because that's who.
That's your feud.
Yeah, that's it. That was Rock's greatest feud right there. A lot of people say it was Austin. For me, it was Triple H.
Triple H.
Who says it's Austin?
Mm-hmm. A lot of people said it was Austin. Yeah, a lot of people always said it was
because
Austin.
You got to remember.
But remember, they went 3 WrestleManias against each other.
Yeah, but
true. But those if you gonna give me your greatest rival, you spent the most time with Triple H.
Yeah, and I mean, when y'all was nobody's battling over the Intercontinental title, it was you.
But that's what makes it your feud. You fight on every single level that you at.
Yeah, when niggas didn't have a belt, when niggas was fighting over the IC belt, then they turn around and start fighting for the world belt. It was always them. That was a constant for me. But people, always throw Austin in there. Always rocking Austin.
And I feel like
I can understand it, but I don't.
They say that because Rock and Austin got 3 WrestleMania matches. Triple H and Rock have 1 if you count that Fatal 4.
But because they did everything else, they did other shows.
Yeah, they did a lot of other shows.
But no, I love Rock and Triple H. That was my shit.
So I would, if I was a retirement match, and if I could have gave Triple H a retirement match, I think it should have been Rock. It would have been Rock or Sean for Triple H for me, but Sean wouldn't have been able to do it.
No, Sean wouldn't have been able to.
Because when they brought him back for that Saudi show, I'm like, why did you even come back?
Why did any of them come back?
I wish he wasn't such a dick when he was on drugs. Because they pitched that shit back in the day. Rock was like, nah, I don't fuck with dog like that. But that shit would have been some shit. Rock versus Sean? Oh, that'd have been lit.
I'm sorry, Sean.
Why they still let fucking Sean cost Rock the title and never explained why?
When he
super kicked him when Roger
stupid ass boots and yeah, I'd have had a beef just from the outfit you was wearing.
Maybe they were supposed to go somewhere with it.
No, Sean wouldn't even make a clip to wrestle back then. That was like 2000.
I didn't say there was gonna be a wrestling match. Maybe they was gonna go somewhere with it. They just didn't.
Rock and Sean for me, I think it would have made sense. I think it would have been good, but promo wise, I don't know if I would have really understood it. Like, what would they really dug each other?
Depending on at what point in time they would have had a match.
No, okay.
Like if we'd have had this match like 2005ish, 2006ish type shit, then this is strictly based off of I'm better than you type shit. We can cut these promos on just who the best.
Mm-hmm.
But like had Sean like been an active wrestler,
I got a question.
back then it makes sense.
Who has the IC belt right now?
Your favorite nigga, Gunther.
See, this is how much I don't pay attention to the fact that this nigga has a belt because he just beats ass and go home.
Yeah, did you watch Monday Night Raw?
I didn't watch all of my Raw this week.
There was a whole promo about Gunther is coming.
I know I'm saying that, but I can
next week actually.
Yeah,
right,
next week.
Next week.
Yeah, because that's what I did
know
watch
if he's
the tag.
wrestling, but there's going to be a number one contender match. He gonna beat up whoever it is.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
Right.
Like who's gonna? That's what reason why I was asking that question is now that we got this shuffle of belts everywhere and whatnot. Who in the hell does he lose his belt to? Like if we're talking about him being next in line to be the nigga who should dethrone Roman in this current era, who dethrones him?
He not dethroned
Again,
Roman.
as I've stated, I've only seen
I just told
Gunther.
you.
I've only seen Gunther / Walter beat once.
And we
And that
watched
was when Drag On.
Yeah,
took
like
his
we
ass
watched
out.
that one.
Chop claims he got beat another time
But
earlier before I got paying attention.
I think he lost to Bates.
Yeah. But other than that, I've never seen.
Never
Gunther
seen
beat.
it other than,
I
and
was
even
shocked.
that and even that match was a struggle.
Dog, his whole fucking Drago whole.
What
face.
that match like almost an hour long?
Well, when Gunther won the title, it was an hour long.
That's the one I seen.
Yo, honestly, low-key, I mean, because he got to lose it at some point. I wouldn't mind if it's Cody.
That's why I thought it was a
That
damn.
way
That is the biggest fucking consolation prize if that nigga only get the IC belt.
He should have.
I mean, well, for one, I feel like
and Cody for sure gonna be fucked up after that match.
And it's like, well,
who he gonna be?
If finishing the story means you gotta beat Roman, that's cool. But you're not gonna finish the story right now because we just split you niggas up. We just put Roman on SmackDown, you on Raw, and I know that. And if they're not gonna give you this stupid ass world title because that is reserved for my nigga, the Visionary, you need something to do. And in order for us to move Walter up the card, somebody got to be the placeholder and just hold this belt.
Seth and Walter,
and I don't feel like it's gonna be Drew because I feel like if Drew does come back, he's gonna be a heel. He ain't gonna be a top heel. Seth gonna need somebody to fight, so you can interchange Walter and Drew as far as giving somebody for Seth. And like Drew is not major enough to where sliding him back down the card doesn't hurt him.
Seth and Walter is money at SummerSlam.
That is definitely
so. If you got Seth and Walter, now you can have Cody and Drew.
Where Walter from again?
Austria.
That was like, and they finna go on World Tour. Ooh.
So it's like, and like Drew is one of them guys who's like, we can slide him up the card, we can slide him down the card. It really don't affect how people feel about him. He's a good interchangeable person.
Because Imperium is a concept I never really understood or got behind until they actually started. Well, it was probably a couple months after Imperium was, and then you start getting the.
Did you watch them at NXT? Yeah, they was just
pure,
whooping. It's
pure
just three niggas that's pure wrestling.
Pure wrestling.
Ass beating.
Respect the ring.
On God.
That's it.
That's all it's about. This is game.
This is sacred ground.
That's
why I want to see Walter and Roman, because it's my yard, but you gonna respect the ring, nigga.
The ring general.
Roman don't want that smoke. Brock didn't even want that smoke. He saw them chops, was like, hey, you not finna hit me like this. Now, if you down to take some suplexes, cool. But them chops out.
I said they had their moment at the Rumble, and they're like, y'all, the WWE missed it. They didn't pull the trigger because that should have been the match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I mean, all credit due to that triple threat. One of the best matches on the card both nights, period. That triple threat. But I still think it should have been Brock and
Walter.
Brock and Walter. That would have been a match I'd have sunk my teeth into. Like, what's about to happen? Who's about to win? Because you got two of the hardest hitting niggas, and this is the one time you can't say Brock is the most dominant in the ring. Cause like Walter looks like he fights.
He
for
fights.
real. He fights for real.
He don't hold. He don't pull punches.
I feel like SummerSlam is gonna be something special.
Damn.
As far as this card, I feel like
it got to be something special because Backlash card
Actually,
to the eye didn't look good.
No.
But Backlash was better than WrestleMania. And now it looks like from the card that
Night
we're
of
getting,
Champions.
Night of Champions is going to be as good as Backlash was. So, yes, SummerSlam is going to have to bring it.
But what we're
I got faith in Paul. I feel like if this is truly the Triple H era of main roster wrestling, I like where we're going.
it's NXT
On steroids.
It's NXT elevated. That's all it is. So because takeovers kept getting better and better and better and better to the point where I don't think he missed on any takeovers at one point in
I don't
time.
have a problem with current NXT. I just don't watch that shit every
It's
week.
just that's the only problem with
I'm gonna
current
watch because
NXT.
I'm
You
gonna watch
don't know who's there.
Battleground because I know just the match quality gonna be good. I don't even know what's on the card outside of Braun Breaker and Melo for the belt. I don't even know.
I don't like Heel Braun as much as I thought I would. But Trick been clowning lately.
I think he's only a heel because his daddy said that goofy shit, and they was like, "Yo, we can't fire you, but you got to be a bad guy now because they don't fuck with your dad."
Oh, dad cost and his DLC just dropped too.
That nigga, look, y'all gotta understand these old niggas.
It's old niggas.
Stop letting them talk, man. They old. They see
old
now.
Niggas go say
They've been dropped on their head the last 30
and
years.
you have to remember that most of these old wrestlers came from a racist era, so they don't see nothing wrong with how they talking.
All I feel is like,
Look at Iron Sheik. Why y'all give him Twitter?
He's not racist, but he don't fuck with Hulk Hogan, and I'm okay with that.
He hate that nigga.
After he did the job for Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
I also like every time I see one of y'all post a tweet in the group, I'm like, does he just regret not breaking dog leg for the 10 G's? Because for 10 G's, I probably would have took you out, Hogan.
Bro, wrestling would be so different.
You know, a lot of niggas. And you know what they
said?
said? They you know, the fucking Vince loves Sheik. Like, because he didn't take that blood money. And he just loved Sheik and adored Sheik. And Sheik fucked up and he kept bringing Sheik back and giving him chances. And all
because if you got to look at it, dog, if you take Hogan out,
it's over.
None of this.
It's over.
Nigga, we would, the Mandela effect.
I often have that argument with people. And they be like, man, anybody could have did Hulk Hogan.
Nah, Hogan.
We could have put Macho Man Savage.
Think about it. They tried it. They tried it with Warrior to give him Hulk Hogan's job. They tried it with Luger to give him Hulk Hogan's job.
Hogan had a level of charisma that was unmatched during that time.
And I tell people, like, whether you are a Hulkamaniac or you grew up loving Hulk Hogan or you grew up liking the other nigga that was on the other side of the ring from Hulk Hogan, you cannot take away the fact that Hulk Hogan and what he did for wrestling is the reason why you like professional wrestling.
Hulk Hogan because is the Sugar Hill Gang.
Right. If Hulk Hogan don't come in this bitch and say hip hop, hippie to the hip hop, we don't have no fucking tribal chief.
Nope.
And on that note, it's been a beautiful time. I fuck with y'all for coming to kick it with me. Shout out to Tori coming to pod.
Nigga, when you gonna bring your podcast back?
Man, I don't know.
The streets have been calling.
Yeah, man.
Let's see what the Lord
streets need real bar talk.
We really do need real bar talk.
Get back on the Death Fresh Hall of Fame board.
Oh no, you in the new room.
What new room? Over there?
Yeah.
Where Tommy was? Oh.
Yeah, you're over there. I moved you to classics. Go over there.
Oh, okay. I get with Casey and see, you know, we can go to the classic room.
Do it. Just do a classic room.
Man, we gotta bring real bar talk back.
Bring real bar talk back.
Man, you know, y'all done started a lot of life journeys since y'all
just
left.
You too.
Did you even have like a goodbye episode? I feel like niggas just was like, I ain't coming in this week.
No,
week
you know,
into the week
that's exactly what happened.
Nigga
nigga bought a truck and never looked back.
You know what? I'm gonna get the gang back together. And
no. Two. It started with two. Started with two in the basement, and it needs to be back as two in the basement. Everybody else can come visit, but two in the basement.
Yeah, man, you gotta take it back to the original form.
Okay, I'll talk to my partner in crime.
Because that's how it was. I still got the original intro too.
Do you?
Yeah, still got it.
What up, dog?
We started with I smoke, I drink, and then he got one custom made. Oh, damn! Now y'all can actually have a visual intro now.
You know, it's funny. Let me try and.
You gonna call her now?
No, I'm about to go try and see if I can. I see if it's still up. I don't know if it'll be still up.
A lot of y'all old episodes are not
Did
up.
you end the show, nigga?
No, we talking. All right. With that being said, make sure you check us out on all streaming platforms. Cause you started telling them about, real Bart talk, and I don't want them to hear that. Make sure you check us out on all streaming platforms. That's Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Make sure you listen to us on TDR Radio. That's ToneDeafRadio.media for you to go ahead and check out all the things we got going on here. Shout out to Tommy, shout out to Juan, shout out to Tori once again. Definitely want to give a shout out to Tori right here, because if it wasn't for him, along with a few other people, TDR would not be where we are right now in regards to that. So I want to give him his flowers while he's still living. And with that being said, people, we are fucking out of here. Peace.
I'm going to smoke some flowers.